which we can clearly see this is just for show and it's just for making money, for milking money, making money out of TikTok and also milking Kenyans their money. The moment when Kenyans got tired and if he was a genuine person, angeendelea na campaigns zake, angeendelea na vampire diaries yake. But as soon as he realized the tap is running dry, which is what brought him there, he hit out, and rightly so, Kenyans saw through him. Yeah, so we need a party. That is a must. You need a party. If there's a vacuum, hata hao majenzi unasema jenzi, they'll just go to those other parties which are being held by those akina Gachagua and akina Karua and Nak and all these things. So we need a party. We need to popularize the party to be able to get people to register into the party, because the reason why we need people to register en masse is also so that we can have, like a lot of these parties, their primaries are not free and fair. Mtu anapeangwa kama ODM. Me, I used to be a member of ODM, and what used to happen in ODM is that kuna watu wenye walikuwa wanapewa direct ticket. So it doesn't matter if that's what the members want or not. Baba akishasema ni huyu, basi anapata express ticket. So we don't get the popular candidate and we don't get the person that we want. So we end up with bad leaders who maybe they went and somehow blinded Baba with some bribes or I don't know what, and wakamuingiza kwa box and then wanapewa express. So we want to cut out that kind of thing, which happens in a lot of parties. Okay, not a lot. Let me say ODM, because ODM ndio nimekuwa a member. We want free and fair primaries. Watu wanakuja, kama we ni Gen Z, unataka kiti fulani, munasimama na Gen Z wenzako, you stand, and of course we are not only targeting Gen Z, hata mtu mwenye you are a Gen Z at heart, you want to see change in Kenya and you are not in that age bracket, you can come in, you can run for the seat, you can, if you are elected free under free and fair primaries, we stand behind you wholeheartedly, knowing that huyu ndio alikuwa popular candidate yenye watu Gen Z walikuwa nataka. Unaona? So you need to consider those kinds of things. Campaign is very grueling. Campaign tuna need, the reason why Ruto alikuwa anaendaga mpaka kwa vijijini, and the same with, by the way, even if you look at other popular candidates like Kawera, the difference between her and Kirito and Linturi was that alikuwa anaendanga interior, ile interior yenye hakuna politicians anafikanga. She was going there and then she televises it on TV. Sasa watu wengine wenye hajafikia wakimuona kwa hiyo TV yake sijui what it was called, something Vite FM, they see that this is a leader who cares about us. Imagine anaweza kuingia matope yote akuje mpaka kwetu atuletee tank ama atuletee mud boots. So yani they identify with her. And on top of that, she was also having a church where she was the bishop. So religion is also very important. So we also need a candidate who is a good Christian, I won't mention anybody, but mtu mwenye ni wa kanisa atapata votes. I can tell you that because we are 82% Christian. So those are the strategies she used to win, and she actually won hands down. Kiangalia votes zake na angalia za Linturi na za nani, you can see she was a very popular candidate. So we need, on all those areas, we need to be very serious on that. The party, forming the party, we come up with our leader, because we also don't want a party which is like it's your personal party, like here DCP ya nani ya Gachagua yenye party ni ya Gachagua. So kama unataka kiti ende umuone kando and those kinds of nonsense, we don't want those kinds of things. We want an elected, we are coming up with the party, we want somebody who is our candidate, our popular candidate, to be the chairman of that nini, so that we own the party and we feel this party ni yetu, si ati ni party yenye ilianzishwa kwa bedroom ya nani ya Sankale and then sasa amekuja kutuletea hapa selling it to us that it's a Gen Z. Hapana. We want a party which, at the leader who is in charge of that party, we are the ones who have endorsed him, and like that. Now, it's actually too late right now. It's actually, time is running out. Munaona ni kama say we are in July. Hakuna time. We need that party like yesterday, and then we need to start moving around. Kwa sababu sio kila mtu ako kwa X, na sio kila mtu mwenye anaingianga kwa mtandao. Majority of Kenyans, by the 70% of Kenyans are in rural areas, na wengine hata stima hawana. So we have to go deep into the interior. Hata kama ni kujigawa kwa groups, tuseme sasa hii group, kama mimi sasa kwetu kwenye ninajua, ninaenda kupopularize that party. On the weekend when I have free time, I take some few people from the party, tunaenda huko mashinani kufamiliarize au watu wa ushago au wenye hawana nini smartphone and all these, maybe they are not able to enter into the X and listen that kuna party fulani. Tunaenda hivyo mpaka tufikie the last so that we can that is how you get votes. Huwezi pata votes kukaa hapa kwa X ama kukua tu hapa Nairobi. You have to, the 70% of the vote is in Ushago, bro. Thank you very much.
Good evening guys. Yangu mimi ningeanza na kusema kuna kitu moja, shida moja wa Kenya tunafaa kujua. Kitu ya kwanza tunafaa kujua, like kama tunataka kuchange the system, lazima tuchange kila system yote. First of all, ukiangalia hii serikali zote zimekuwa zikirecycle tu watu. Ukiangalia minister wenye walikuwa kwa Kenyatta, the old mzee, the so called the father of the nation, maminister wote ndio Moi alikuwa anawatumia. Kutoka wenye walikuwa kwa Moi ndio wakakuja kwa Kibaki, wenye walikuwa kwa Kibaki wakakuja kwa Uhuru, wenye walikuwa kwa Uhuru wakakuja kwa Ruto. Kama umeangalia hiyo pattern, umeshaelewa like ile generation ilikuwa ina run kitambo politics, bado zile old politics, ile yenye ya kuua watu, kusilence watu, ndio sasa ina rule the same. That's why Kenya haijawahi change. Hatujawahi kuwa na independent, haijawahi change. Hata nyinyi mnajua Mau fought for land and freedom, they didn't vote for to take the leadership ilipewa home guards kina Kenyatta, hata nyinyi mnajua hivyo. So one thing tunafaa kuelewa ni tunafaa kuwipe the whole entire team kutoka kwa president mpaka MCA, au watu wote wameishi tu kurecycle. So the only thing tunaweza fanya kama Kenyans, kama ni Mkenya uko hapo nje, wewe mwenyewe unapenda ndugu yako kama vile unapenda jirani yako, before ifike wakati wa kuvote, kaa chini, jiite kama mkutano, jiulize, do you really need free education? What do you need? Tafuta leader mwenye ako na qualities kama zako, si mdomo, si mtu mwenye anakuja juu ya gari, not a politician. Another thing, tunafaa kujifamiliarize na modern campaign. Unajua kuna kitu moja our old folks hawajui, like sisi hatu operate kama wazazi wetu vile walikuwa. Ukiangalia, and we are not saying that ati walikuwa na operate vibaya, wazazi wetu wako wanaangalia leader, qualities zake, anatoka wapi, was he brought up. They know nothing about him. The only thing they know ni maybe ni Mkikuyu, mwingine sijui ni nini hivyo, like hizo maishu ya tribalism manini vitu kaa hizo. So one thing mimi naweza sensitize ni, first of all, before we elect anyone, first of all tuende kwa grassroots, tujue mtu alikuwa aje. Huyu mtu amepatikana na scandal za corruption, cancel yeye. Huyo unajua uwezi vote yeye, hata apewe nini uwezi. Another thing, ukienda uangalie huyu mtu ako na bad history, hiyo alipatikana na scandal sijui za kushika wanawake sijui nini, tukaa hizo. So like if you want really change, are you ready for the change? Hii mtu unapewa 200, unasahau kesho yako. Kesho ukiwa mgonjwa hospitali chaifanyi hizo vitu zote. Let's stop this drama yenye tunajifanya hatuoni nchi inaenda bali inaenda. Nchi inaisha, ni kuisha inaisha, na ikiisha hivyo sisi wote tutaumia. Me I'm just speaking like a loyal citizen, mtu mwenye angetaka kuona kesho yetu ikiwa mzuri, mtu angetaka kuona watoto wakienda shule vizuri vile sisi tulisoma. Me I studied nikiwa wakati wa enzi ya Kibaki, but I finished it the time of Uhuru. So like there's a lot of difference between the two regimes. So like wherever we are looking for qualities of a leadership, wacha kuangalia kanisa ina support nani. Stop listening to the church, because church imekuwa ikitu-mislead. Wewe mtu anajua aliua mtu, mimi najua hata alikuwa na kesi ya kuua mtu, na huyo mtu anasimama pale mbele ya kanisa anasema Bwana asifiwe. Hata nyinyi mnajua hizi mabishop wanashikwa na maskando zingine moto sana, sijui za nini, za kushika wasichana, sijui vijana, vituko mingi sana. I can't mention all of them. But the thing is this: think as an individual. Another thing, convince your neighbor, your friend, and your family. It is all start. Charity begins at home. Usianze kusema tutakuja hapa uconvince mtu. Hapana. Pia online ongea. Pali yote utapita, hata kama ni club, utammeet na mtu, bonga na yeye. It is for the sake of your tomorrow. Sasa saa hii wewe ukija kuwa abducted, juu umeongea ukweli, utakuwa unaishi Kenya gani? Hii si Kenya yenye babu zetu walifight for. That's why we are liberating. We want to free Kenya from these politicians. Tunataka a real change. Kenya yenye na work for everyone. Equality. Something like, hii una graduate unaenda unakosa kazi. If we revive our factories, tunaweza revive our factory, our economy. Kenya is a rich country, but look at what is done. Angalia, kama umefuatilia, Ruto alikuwa UK. Wewe kama unajua, kama if you know how to analyze it, utaelewa. Like, sasa ameona ile narrative ya church nini haiwork. That's why unaona anatorokea kwenda kujoin our oppressors. Hao watu ndio walituoppress. Angalia kampuni mingi sana za UK zina operate Kenya. Many processing industries, manufacturing mingi zinatoka UK, including even oil ya mafuta hiyo huko ngamia one huko. Hizo zote, like, why don't we free our nation? Because one thing, the reason why Britain wamekuwa wakifight for human right, but indirectly hakuna kitu kama hiyo. They don't fight for that. They always want a puppet. That's why wanataka kusupport Ruto, wajue vile watamsaidia. Unaona? So they don't want us to free from them because they know Kenya tunapendaga, ona watu wenye tunaadmire, watu kama Traore, like they don't want us to have our own Traore. The reason why I'm saying this is because kuna mtu pale amedanganywa, this old fox ati ndio option. Usiangalie mtu vile ana shout one time ama anasema nini ati huyo ndio ati sasa wewe uko against, ati jua kwa against fulani, okay, I will vote for him. No, this time let's not do that mistake. At you hope so. How sure are you like this old folks will liberate our economy? How sure are you these old folks will chase the oppressors away? Sisi tunataka Kenya ikuwe free. Tunataka kampani zetu zenye zinaoniwa na Wakenya zioperate Kenya. Kama nizo barabara, wacha ni maengineer wa Kenya. Kitu tunaenda kuchukua maengineer sijui China ama wapi. You want the Kenyan engineers. Kama ni leadership, tunataka mtu mwenye anatetea mwananchi, si mtu mwenye anaenda kusikiza government. Because for long time government imekuwa ikiwork for itself, like imekuwa na kitu mbili. Imekuwa kuna mwananchi na kuna government. Government imekuwa ikitumia mwananchi, ni kama sasa government imekuwa umbo, inanyonyaga mwananchi damu ndio ishi. Like, for how long will this happen? Take as an example, government unalipa tax. Hakuna siku wananchi wa Kenya tumekataa kulipa tax. Mandugu zangu na matata zangu, hakuna siku tumekataa. But look at what they do to us. Wataenda, mtu mmoja akiongea atashikwa au wawe. Polisi wamekuwa wakitumika kama tool. Polisi si watu wabaya, but the politician ndio watano wamekuwa watu wabaya. But the funniest thing ni even the start of police hawakuanza ikiwa watu wazuri. Polisi walikuwa wanatumikaga kuzuia slaves kutoroka slave camp. Hivyo ndio polisi walianza mpaka ikakuja kuwa force. Sasa kutoka kwa force, sasa saa hii mnaambiwa ati polisi ni ati utumishi kwa wote. Utumishi kwa nani? Wewe umeshikwa na polisi, umeona vile anakutreat na wewe ni citizen. Why can't we have that country yenye polisi yako na body camera? Tunajua ati ukipiga system
to your own house or to your own village, most of them go to change people.
Yeah, hebu wana vile wanapiga watu, wanapiga mtu anakuvunja, nani ndugu yako, na yeye ndiye analipa tax, ndio unapata hiyo mshahara unapata juu hiyo polisi anapata mshahara juu yako. Hata kama unaenda kununua majani hivi bado unalipa tax. Look at that. Another thing I would like to say ni let's look for young leaders. Sisi hao wazee wanajua in the next 20 or 30 years they will never watakuwa hapa, watakuwa wameenda. But hizi pesa zote hata unashindwa wanatafuta ya nini? Mtu anaiba mpaka unasikia amekuwa trilionea. Haya, Another thing, the funniest thing ni sisi tu kama candidate mwenye tunatafuta, kama if you are a Kenyan outside there na unanisikiza kama brother na sister yangu, yes, sijui ni watu wangapi wananisikiza, lakini wacha nikuambie ndugu yangu na sister yangu, tutafute leader mwenye atalead hao watu wote, tuwashike hao leaders wenye wamefanya corruption, hao leaders wenye wamekuwa wakiua watu, serikali imekuwa ikitumika vibaya, polisi wamekuwa wakitumika vibaya. Let's hold all these people accountable wote. Kama ni candidate, tuna support ule candidate, ule mtu mwenye tunajua ni real, like ni mtu atastand na sisi, tunajua ata fight corruption, atashika hao watu wenye waliiba pesa. Si ati anatuahidi alafu haezi fanya hivyo. We don't want a politician, we want a leader, mtu mwenye tutaambia kama wananchi, tunasema arrest somebody mwenye alifanya NY scandal. Okay, how did this start? Ilianza aje? Na hiyo pesa irudishwe, si ati unakuwa arrested alafu inaisha hivyo. Rudishe hiyo pesa. If we recover all our money, hizi pesa zote nyumeona imekuwa squandered huko nje, na sisi tunajua, sisi wenyewe kama wananchi, kila mtu anajua. Kama umezaliwa na neighbor yako, sasa maybe ni MP, wewe unajua huyu mtu vile aliishi, wewe unajua ile kitu ana own, unajua ile shamba amenunua, unajua mahali amejenga nyumba ngapi, amejenga maapartment ngapi. Hizo ndio tunafaa kuziendea baada tumechukua government, juu hata sisi tutakuwa na hiyo power. Twende tuchukue hizo vitu zote, turudishe, tuuze na turudishie Kenya pesa. All these debts zenye tunaekelewa, juu wanaenda wanakopa, wanakuja wanatumia pesa vile wanataka, wanaenda wanakopa, wanakuja ingine hata ni undocumented. Hizo vitu zote tunakataa hizo. Kama deni haikufuata our constitution, tunakataa, tunasema we are not paying it. Mozambique did it. Mozambique ilifanya hivyo. Look, wengi walishikwa na wakajailiwa because walichukua deni against the constitution. And if the mwenye ana manage budget akisema hii pesa ilikopwa kinyume na sheria, hatuwezi lipa as a country, we are free to go. Yeah, it is. Those individuals wenye walichukua hizo pesa, let them hold accountable. Wacha wakuwe accountable. Si ati mtu anaenda anakopa huko, sisi tunakuja tunalipa. Anaenda anakopa. That's why deni haipunguka. Deni inazidi kuongezeka. Na unashangaa sana, kwani tulitaji deni, lakini utasikia out of this tax yenye tumecollect, wamechukua pesa fulani kulipa deni. Mpaka unajiuliza, kwani deni haipunguangi? Kwa nini hatunalipa in trillions? Let's wake up our fellow citizens. Let's wake up if you want a really change. If you are really fighting for that change. Hakuna mtu anapenda kuwa jobless, na tuko na country yenye tunaweza kila mtu. Kenya ni country, ikiwa Burkina Faso ina run na inajenga hizo projects zote, na ujue economy yao, budget yao iko chini sana hata kuliko hata ya Ministry of Education peke yake ya Kenya. Lakini sisi tuko na pesa mingi sana, but we have puppets. Let's not elect any puppet. Mtu yote mwenye hawezi shika mtu mwingine juu ya corruption, ni kwa sababu ukiangalia hizi, the reason why I'm saying this, unakuta ule minister mwenye alikuwa kwa Uhuru bado ndiye ameletwa kwa wakati ya Ruto. The same person unakuta alipatikana na scandals za wizi, huyo bado ndio anakuja anachaguliwa. Sasa nani ata hold mwingine accountable? Yet they are the same packets, they eat the same plate. Nani? Let's think out of the box. Ukiwa unakaa hivi, kama wewe ni Mkenya halisi, wewe unajua nchi yako haijawahi kuwa free. Hata sisi wote tunajua hivyo, hakuna mtu ajui, but at least this generation tumefungua hata wazazi wetu macho, wameona yenyewe ni ukweli. Na hata walikuwa wanajua, but wao walikuwa wanaogopa kuongea. Ulikuwa ukiongea unasemekana utauawa, utafanyiwa nini. But for us, we have nothing to lose, because the reason why we have nothing to lose ni hao watu wamefanya mpaka tumelose hope in life, some of us, because umesoma, umefanya nini, kila kitu, walikudanganya uende shule, ukafanya, mzazi akauza ng'ombe, akauza shamba, akauza, ati utakuja upate kazi mzuri kumaliza shule, graduate. Wapi? Mwisho mnaishi kuwa maskini tena zaidi ya vile mlikuwa. Hata heri hata ungeenda shule. Tell me why we have leaders, they come and promise us tutawajengea barabara. Kati ya barabara na hospitali ni gani muhimu? Gari inaokoa maisha. Na wewe askari mwenye uko hapo nje, before kuja upige mtu fimbo, unapiga mtoto wa wenyewe fimbo, ama unapiga risasi. Fikiria hata wewe, leo ni wewe unapiga. Kumbuka hiyo, hautaishi kuwa askari. na pia mtoto wako, you never know tomorrow. Pia uko na cousins, uko na maanko, uko na nani, but the same shit it will happen to them. Believe me or not, we need to take this country from the oppressors, because hawa watu wamekuwa wakishirikiana. Angalia mtu kama me I will call them by name. Angalia mtu kama Matiang'i. Matiang'i si option. Okay, just let me conclude. Mtu kama Matiang'i ni mtu amefanya World Bank huko USA. Huko mtu angalia all foreign ministers wenye wanaenda kufanya, wanaangalianga maneno ya nini inaitwa aje, hizi ya finance, wengi wamefanya na World Bank ama IMF wa Kenya, all of them. Angalia ni kwa nini, jiulize ni kwa nini they always want to manipulate us. So one thing mimi nitawaambia, let's not elect puppets. Mtu mwenye anajua ati ameenda kufanya kitu ili akuja tu oppress. Mtu asikuja kukuambia ati mtu ni liberator na yet mtu sahi anasema ati jenzini ati ndio ndio wezi. Nani ajui mchezo wa government yenye inacheza? Inafanya watu, ina blackmail watu, inawafanya hao protesters wanataka kuwa ati hao ndio wezi. Kila mtu anajua hivyo. And we all know that. But another thing is, wacheni kufuata hawa so called influencers. Hawa watu wenye wako na negativity. Hawa watu wenye wanapump negativity na watu wenye wana support our oppressors. Let's deplatform them. Wacha kufollow, wacha kuview video yake. Ukiona block yeye, ukimuona mali block, report that account. Hizo vitu zote, hii propaganda yenye kumaliza online. Okay, that's all.
30 seconds, so we can have justice.
Okay.
Dr. Idris and then Reed.
Okay, so yangu ni hiyo tu. Asanteni wa Kenya. Yeah.
Thank you. Justice.
Yeah, a quick one. Sorry, guys. It's supposed to be my day off from this serious politics. I didn't anticipate to speak about this subject because I plan on having similar space in the coming days. But I will respond very quickly on two key issues. Number one, the premise of the question, whether is it a priority? That's actually a wrong premise, because question of priority is whether it's actually supposed to be done, and then you need to prioritize. The question is that it's illegal constitutionally. I've tried to read through what some other legal scholars have commented on. I think Wedis has just posted one a little bit a few minutes ago. There are a few others. The question of priority is something to really look into. So for us to address this is that once we have a conversation and we have maybe some attorneys or lawyers in the house, the question then, what action needs to be taken? Is this something that we need to taken to the courts for interpretation of Kenya being a secular state? Meaning there's a difference between separation of state and church or religion, as it were. So in that case, then what's our role and what's our input, so that the conversation is not just about being angry, ranting about it, but do we have somebody that we can rally behind in terms of getting the clarity? Any posting by the other bloggers saying that Kanisa has always been there, ilikuwa ya mabata on that's immaterial. It's completely immaterial. And that's the reason why I think people need to reflect on it, mainly from a constitutional standpoint. Of course, with the guidance of the legal minds and the legal scholars, to see what needs to be done to address that. Now, the aspect of that it's not costing the taxpayer money. I'm using money from my pocket to build a church in a public land. It's an interesting insult. One, to the minds of the Kenyan people, but also to somebody who feels that I own this state house and therefore I can get money from my pocket just because I have it, or I've stolen it, or I have some other drug dealer somewhere can give me the money, just like the way they give me the plane to used to go to the US, donated by friends, as it's being reported. And for that reason, I can just bring that money that I've gotten from friends and build a church in the People's State House. Now, friends, if you think through that, this is supposed to be a very serious parliamentary inquiry, or inquiry as Mariam would pronounce it, to really understand under what circumstances a president would decide to get money out of his pocket to build a church in the People's State House. And that is deep as that. Recently, it's not been months, I think, the president of the United States goes to the Middle East, and I think Qatar gave him some gift of a plane to be used as Air Force One. It had to become a congressional inquiry, had to be formed to understand why on earth was that even allowed, because you cannot take a gift. You cannot even do that. So even Ruto talked to the Kenyan people, because the problem here is the stupidity of our mind. It has nothing to do with leaders. Because for us, we felt comfortable that he has told us that someone donated the plane that he used to the US. You shouldn't do that. Okay, let me take a glass of water. So the point I'm making here is that, friends, we are actually talking just for the sake of it without looking at the consequences deeply, what it does to the nation of Kenya. Hiyo iliachwa tu ikaenda. Ni rafiki zangu ndio walinichangia, nikaenda a state visit. Ndege nilichangiwa na marafiki. And now here comes. I predicted yesterday. It was recorded that, oh, he will come tomorrow and say that this is my money. It's not. I knew this is the angle that it was going to use. And then now he's telling you that, oh, wenye wanapinga, hata mashetani wakipinga, bado nitajenga nyumba ya Bwana. Kenya, I know most of you are religious, but this is not the religion. This is not the type of, whether it's Islam, Christianity, or whatever, that we propagate or we have been trained to believe in. But somebody trying to make it that he has an exclusive access to the Godhead and exclusive touch with the heavenlies, and therefore we have to listen to him. It's the greatest absurdity of all things that I've ever listened to. So on this subject, I think we need to approach it with some level of seriousness from a constitutional standpoint, from a level of understanding what we expect the parliament to do, and who can bring their personal money to start using in that circumstances without really approval. Otherwise, we are going to encourage money laundering and bring drug dealers or these gold, people that are doing those stupid and crazy businesses just because they can afford money. Then they start building things for you and they say, oh, it doesn't cost you, but someone else has built for you, call it Danny or whatever it is. Now, on the other aspects, of course, I knew already there's another meeting coming up. And then there was a comment. Let me make a final one here. There are people are talking about, starting the political parties and stuff like that, and all to mobilize. Let's be a little realistic here, based on the timelines where we are and all this. Yes, I give, and I keep saying this over and over again. We give credit that the Gen Zs really brought this awakening, but the danger that I've been trying to dispel in my submissions is that if the Gen Z try to have an exclusive ownership of this revolution, it dies right there. It dies right there. This has to be translated into the national movement where, regardless of your age, regardless of your gender, regardless of your religion, regardless of whatever your region, whatever you operate from, it has to be that the moment we get there, then we can start having a conversation. But as it is right now, it is a very tiny segmented agitation that has not captured the imagination of the country that it would bring change. The moment the older folk, the middle age, the middle class as it were, and everything, they kind of catch that vision and run with it, then whatever was initiated by the Gen Z becomes a success. But as long as we start having gatekeepers who still feel this is our moment and we must drive it. And of course, I've had other very, very respectable political leaders trying to tell people that this is yours, you have to lead to the end. They're misleading our young people. I think it's about time to realize that if I start something and I conceive the vision, I don't have to be the only carrier for that vision. My success depends on how do I mobilize and bring everybody together to bring it to fruition. Appreciate an opportunity, Leol and IAB. God bless.
Thank you, Justice. Always a pleasure. Yeah, so I think we all agree with you. We need to, in terms of the leadership or the way forward, in terms of the Gen Z movement, that we really need to start thinking about the way forward, whether it's in mobilizing, whether it's in organizing, all that. I think it's now, we are remaining with almost 2 years to the election. So that means that the earlier the better for us. But again, of course, I would like to just say this. We also need to be very keen not to be repeating the same things that we are trying to run away from. So with that, I'm going to ask, I think, I'm not sure if Dr. Morpho has gone. If yes, then we'll have Dr. Idris, then Abdullah, then Forrester, then Tribeless, in that order. So Dr. Morpho, if you've gone, kindly give me 100. If not, you can go. Otherwise, Dr. Idris. So I think we'll have Dr. Idris.
Just pass the mic. I will speak later. There's something I'm trying to tackle here.
Okay, Abdullah, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Eliol, and everyone in the space for hosting this one. Yeah, where should I even start? But first, I will want to start by the topic, Ruto's 1.2 billion church. The thing is, State House is not a religious site. It's not a religious site where you're going to practice religion. It is a sign of national unity, and everyone should feel accommodated. You know, I'm not talking, by my name, someone can think that I'm probably Muslim or whatever. Me, I do not belong to any religion. I believe that religion actually, it is the greatest threat to humanity. Religion has killed more people than any pandemic has ever done. We have had extremists in Islam. We have had extremists in Christianity, in Shakohala. So religion really is not even something to be talking about, and it is being used to manipulate masses. One thing is that I do not get the audacity from a government made up of lies that they think we can accept the thing that William Ruto uses money to build a state, to build a church in State House. That is public land. That is not William Ruto land. If William Ruto wants to build a church, let him do so in Sugoi. Let him do so in that guy belonged to a denomination called Anglican Church. Let him do that at that church. To use personal money to do projects in public land is a way of bypassing. William Ruto is trying to bypass accountability, is trying to bypass other ways where they can he can be scrutinized or vetted. It is not in any way that a government that lies all the time. William Ruto is using public money, and that is why State House is being allocated a lot of funds, because it is money laundering that is happening there. If William Ruto wants to worship and he wants to do so in State House, let him set a room. Let them worship. They can even worship at their own home. I hear that her wife Yeah, the wife is a intercessor. What is the need of a building? Anyway, and William Ruto cannot even worship there after all. If we are against public officers donating in churches, then how are we going to accept William Ruto to use his own donation to build a church? Then they are building a church for around 80,000 people. They have a bill to restrict people in public in places like State House. So who are they imagining they are going to occupy that church every Sunday? So that should be dead on arrival. And I think we have the most incompetent government ever. Those are things that should not even be bothering William Ruto. We are in a crisis of human rights violation. We are in a crisis of corruption. We are in a crisis in economic things. A caring government should be thinking of those things. A caring government should be thinking about police reforms right now. A caring government should be thinking about how to stop corruption, not some basic things that I do not. Kenya does not have any religion. So the other thing, I even think that in future when we have other leaders, some things which are personal like religion should be kept totally private. Go to church private. Do not even invite cameras. Just go privately, because if you can check on my timeline, I've been questioning William Ruto, being of always every Sunday quoting Bible passages. He was not elected to quote Bible passages every Sunday. He was elected to do the fucking job, and he's not doing it. So I do not understand that guy, a guy who steals destroy and wants to pretend that he's so religious. The other thing now about political parties and how Gen Zs work. I do not know whether Justice for All is still here, but I wanted to answer him on one thing about making it. It still looks like a Gen Z thing. We want to incorporate everyone, and that is true. But the only thing that will only work if other people get born again and leave their tribal politics and leave and they exit worshiping demigods, and they have to buy the Gen Z ideology. Then we have a movement. You know, Gen Z is just a word, but there's an ideology there that we are being tribeless. We do not care which tribe you come from. So Kenyans need to leave all their tribes first in terms of politics and public work, so that they can be incorporated into the Gen Z movement. If you are tribeless, no matter your age, you are part of the movement. If you do not worship demigods, you are part of the movement. If you incorporate accountability in everything that you do, you are part of the movement. So no one is gatekeeping anything, but their deeds is what is gatekeeping them. Because if you are a tribal person, there's no way you can belong to the movement. If you worship demigods like Raila Amolo Odinga, like Gachagua, like someone like William Ruto, if you worship them and you wait for them
Abdullah, hand in a minute, eh?
Okay, thank you so much. If you worship them, then you do not belong to the movement. The other thing that I wanted to disagree somehow is the notion that we need to be on the ground. I think the biggest downfall we will do is try to play the politics, the politics that the legacy politicians do. A lot of people are on social media. A lot of people live in town. We have shown that how we organize our protest online. If you cannot change your mother, or you cannot civic educate your parent, there is no politician who is going to your village through campaigns to change them. You are the first person to change them. Personally, I've done my own part. They have told me that for the presidential candidate, I will have to tell them who. That one, personally, I've done it. I've told them your way has not worked for a long time. It is my way. Try my way so that we can see if this country can go forward. So they are waiting for me to tell them that I have this presidential candidate. So I tell you, I also beseech you that in every household, most of the households, they have Gen Z and they have young people. Start with them. Tell them that your ways have not been working. You have been going to forth, but your life is not changing. Please borrow a leaf from our way. Please let me show you who you are going to vote this time. And then if you do that, even our campaign will be very easy. And I agree that we need a political party because we have by-elections that are coming. If William Ruto has not been hung by that time, we have by-elections that are coming. And I think we need to be organized in a way so that by that time, we also need, for the places that have by-elections, we need people there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Abdullah. Idris, I don't know if you're ready to go.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Leon. Thank you, the co-host. Thank you, the speakers and other listeners who are on this platform for finding time and for having the knowledge and the idea to assemble in this auditorium. Let me begin my submission by commenting on the question that is clearly highlighted in the timeline that Ruto's Kenya shilling 1.2 billion charge, is it a priority? Okay, to me, I know and I do believe so that no one has to trust this president or the so-called Ruto president, because he's a kind of a politician who is trying to manipulate the citizens of this republic by bringing the issue of religion, trying to win trying to convince people that he is as a God-chosen president. He's trying to bring the old tactics whereby he came with the Bible and convincing our parents and together with us that he will stick to the rule of law. He will incline everything as per the objectives of the people of Kenya. What I do believe, Leon, together with other speakers and other listeners in this auditorium, is that no one will use hard sweat money that he toil and moil. He has worked hardly to get them to build or to give to the citizens or to give out anyhow. We have been seeing how this person is working in public domain. And the president himself had been a red flag in so many occasions whereby he comes out dishing millions and millions of money, trying to bring manipulation in the entire system. And if we are not going to be very careful, this is the person who is going to bring a narrative of religion. And I've been always focal by saying that religion is dehumanizing. Why am I saying so, that religion is dehumanizing? If you try to look at what is happening currently or during those times of interdenominational prayers or the so-called thing, a lot of money, taxpayers' money, were being dished out, and it was being used to organize such occasions, leaving basic need like healthcare, education, and even other commodities that need priority at that time. So to me, I don't agree with the claims that William Ruto will use 1.2 billion to build the church, purporting that it is his money. It is not true. This is a person who had been mentioned in several scandals and is there, and these are just the same people who had been in government looting left, right, and center. Remember, okay, when you try to figure out what is happening in the current political arena, is that politics nowadays, it is being transactional. They do come with the narrative that how much do you give or how much money do you put on the table? So this amount of money that president is claiming to be originating from his pocket, it is just a way to manipulate the citizens of this republic and to try to blackmail us that indeed it originated from him. But what I do understand is that maybe there are we have to look at both sides of the coin so that we avoid being judgmental. We avoid being judgmental because even the approximation.
It's 1 minute.
Okay, thank you. So I don't believe so that those are money that belong to him. Those are just looted money. They are just transactional. They are just corrupt transactional money, and it is the citizens' money. And also, he should not be allowed to put up that charge because the state house it is a public land. It is a public land. So, secondly, or lastly, concerning the issue of a political party, I do second the other speakers who spoken before me that we need a political party so that we will be able to do our political transaction, or we do civil education. And how I wish to propose is that whenever we create a political party, we try to get people, or we try to get representative from the 47 counties so that those people, they have to look for other people to mobilize the ground so that those people who are not on social medias or on the platforms like this, they have to get the information of what is happening in the current world. So I do suggest that despite us being tribeless, we need, not tribeless, like partyless, this is the right time that we need to form a very strong political party. And in forming that political party, we need to have representatives, let's say 2 or 3 from each county. Those are the representatives who will be sitting in the national level to discuss the way forward of political arena in each and every county. Thank you, and have a blessed time.
Thank you, Idris, and be blessed too. I'll try to move this forward. We kindly keep it 5 minutes so that the others can also represent their views. Forrester, you are going next, then Tribeless.
Okay, asante sana kwa hii nafasi. So mimi ningeanza na hii story ya Ruto kujenga hii church. Firstly, I think the biggest letdown tuko nayo hii Kenya ni wabunge. Out of our wabunge wote, hakuna mtu aliona kwamba this is wrong. Na hapo hivyo ndio sisi tunaanzianga kufanyia makosa wabunge. Hata president. Juu hata tukibadilisha president for a lot of years to come, as long as anaweza persuade parliament ifanye vile anajisikia yeye, hakuna kitu sisi tutafanya. Unaona? Hata tuchague youth sahihi akuwe president, kama parliament haitafanya kazi vile inastahili kufanya, hakuna vile tutasonga. Unaona? Sasa mimi najiuliza, hii kanisa itakuwa ni ya denomination gani? Unaona? Ruto sijui anaendanga ni AC ama ni ACK. And from what I know, churches like ACK, Catholic, AIC, PCA, hizo kanisa I think mara nyingi zinaheshimu kanisa zao na mahali wanaabudu. So mostly mahali wana consecrate kanisa yao ndio wanafanyianga services zao. Unaona? So I wonder how comes anajenga kanisa ambayo ieleweki ni ya denomination gani, hakuna mbunge ana question, hakuna hata kanisa inakashifu kwamba kile kitu anafanya ni it's wrong. Unaona? Na sisi most of us wengine hata youths, as long as ni mtu wetu tutasema iko sawa just because ni mtu wetu, ambayo it's very wrong. Atasema anatumia pesa yake which is okay, but mali anajenga hii kanisa ni shamba ya serikali, ni shamba yetu sisi wananchi, si yake. Unaona? Atasema ni pesa labda amesaidiwa na wenzake, michango na mazawadi, but from what I know, hata mimi mali nafanya kazi, zawadi ni mali ya the organization nafanyia kazi, si yangu. No. So how comes yeye anapokea zawadi then anaitumia yeye vile anajisikia? And we don't question. So mimi inaniuma sana wakati mtu anatumia 1.2 billion kujenga kanisa. Inaniuma sana juu Personally, me, I have a very bad experience. Mimi nafanya kazi Nandi. My wife ako Machakos. She went to hospital. Alikuwa msiki na nini, pressure ilikuwa imeshuka sana. Kufika hospitali, anaambiwa SHA inafanya kazi but lazima aenda ajinunulie zile drip. I don't know kama mna understand it. So aenda ajinunulie drip, anunue gloves, then akuja atibiwe. It was so painful na ni mtu hiyo SHA imelipwa. Ona. So sometimes it's so sad ukiona hizi vitu zikifanyika. Ona. Na tuko na viongozi. Unaona? Na tuko na viongozi. It's so painful but yani hata unashindwa tunaelekea wapi? Unaona? So my other point ni hii historia ya nini ya party. As youths, sisi wenyewe are we ready to change the country ama we are just there, tutaingia then we do the same things hao watu wanafanya. Tutachagua hapa hivi mtu youth. I'm giving you a very good example. Mimi niko Nandi County. Nandi, I think of all the counties into the county kuna one of the youngest people kwa uongozi. Governor is just around 38. Senator ni 30s. Women rep ni mtoto mdogo. But nothing is happening. Vitu zimekwama kabisa. So my question, my biggest worry ni hata sisi youths. Despite kwamba we are fighting so much to kuingia kwa hizi ofisi za serikali na maybe trying to change things. Are we really ready? Ama pia sisi tutaingia, then the highest bidder akikuja, ile pesa atatupea, we sway our way, tuanze kufikiria vile yeye anataka tufanye the way anataka sisi tufanye, yeye anataka tufanye. So we must all be ready kuchange hii inchi before hata we blame hao ambao sahi wako. I think nimemaliza na nimeshukuru sana kwa nafasi yenu.
Forrester, Trailblaz, I don't know if you are ready.
Yes, I'm ready.
Maybe ujibu swali ambayo Forrester ameuliza. Are we ready?
Hello, are you hearing me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for this platform this evening. My view on the context above, I don't think if our president is in his own mind. I think this guy is like anakuwa na akili inapata problem. What do you think of building a church in a state house territory? State house church should be outside the state house. And if he was deciding to build something of worship within the state house, then it should not be a church. Let me ask you these questions, bro, and sis, within this particular place. Check on the soaring cost of living now. Kenyans are struggling with high taxes, fuel prices, school fees, and joblessness. Leaders are expected to be seen prioritizing economic relief, not mega faith-based infrastructures in elite zones, please. Who is advising this guy? This guy has 21 advisors. And who are they? Let us check on violation of constitutional spirit. Kenya is a secular state, I think. If we check on Article 8, endorsing a Christian church inside the most powerful government resident can appear like a state is favoring one religion. Or it is only in me. I think perhaps Kenya is becoming a Christian state. So people who are Muslims, Hindus, and other believers, where do they fall? Check on the opportunity or cost of 1.2 billion, even if it's private money. Optics matter. That amount could build 12 fully equipped rural health clinics. 12 fully equipped. 50 decent public schools. Check on that kind of money. That own amount, 10,000 needy university students can get bursary. Only in that money. What do you think this man is trying to tell us? This man is trying to tell us that he can do whatever he thinks and he has money. So I was asking myself when I was hearing these statements that how much does this guy get every month as his salary?
And where does he get all this money to build this church in the State House? And is there a parliament in our nation? Do we have justice? Is there judiciary? So I've been in the streets and we still be on the streets, though we must be cautious too. I was I was suggesting this. Mahali huko tu, hiyo place huko tu, just mobilize like 10 to 50 youths. Waambie tu kweli what is going on. Enlighten them, be on the ground, walk with them, talk to them. In the evening kuja kwa platform kama sahi, tubonge, tusikilizane. You be a keeper of your brother. Hizi ma platforms hizi zinakuwa hacked, statements mingi. So let us just be careful. And one of these fine days, we will win this battle. I think I'm ending my case there. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Trailbless. By the way, Ruto alisema anatoa pesa kwa biashara yake, so msimjudge. Anyway, while we are at it, Eric, it's Kukurukakara, then Erickson, then we'll have Sam, then then Western. Yeah. So Eric, not
To add on, please,
Kukurukakara.
can I add something?
Yeah,
I wanted to ask this.
add 1 minute.
Uh,
Yeah.
Ruto has a business. Does he pay taxes? Can we see the documents, if there are any? My request only.
Hey, well, I think your guess is as good as mine. So yeah, we'll just move this along as we wait for that answer. So unless Kukurukakara and anajibu for that, then he or she can go ahead. Kukurukakara, you.
Some of these things this man is doing, like udachoka akili, but it is. I think it's really like calculated what this. I think he's a demon or something. Like I don't think this guy is a human being. Like I mean, the things he's doing, like they don't like reflect a normal person. Like I think he's even like mentally insane or something. But I think it's just basically manipulation, like basic manipulation. Like at the end of the day, that's manipulation from this man because he's deflecting from issues that sisi sorted like kwa Kenya. We are trying to like present a case like the country is definitely asking questions of him and he's deflecting. Unajua, like he's just running away from what we are asking and he's like basically creating something else that we can talk about. And I think that we need to like just ignore this person because if we concentrate on him, the person, like there is nothing we are going to achieve from this man. Uyu is a failed person, like he's a failed president. Like unimse amekuwa declared the second most corrupt president. Na ako hapo globetrotting anaenda kuongea ati in town halls sijui wapi huko. This is nonsense. Nonsense. Like na sisi kama wakenya ni wajibu wetu, just look at the national anthem, like hapa ndo ile part, yani ni wajibu wetu, like like it's our job saizi, that's where we come in, we as the people. Sasa hii ndo wajibu wetu. Sasa we need to like direct the country where we want it to be because huyu mse ati tukifocus na yeye, angalia the things he's doing, that I'm not using my own money to construct the church. What do you mean? Where is he getting this money, first of all? Tukitry to calculate whatever is even, like tukitry to like kwenda deep into whatever he's trying to say, like we won't find answers from him as a person. Like tuachane tu na yeye, let us focus on where we can take the country because I don't think like kuna solution. No say. So I mean, hizi ni manipulations, like classic manipulations from this man. That's all I think. Back to you all.
So unaamini ni manipulation anatubeba. Actually, I think you're almost echoing what John Ceremony was telling us earlier that probably this is information like psyops of sorts. They was telling us it's just a deflection. There's something big they want to do. So I don't know if actually probably Erickson, you can tell us. Do you think they are just trying to deflect something? Ama unaona aje, Erickson?
Okay, thank you, host. Thank you, co-host, for having me. I would like to, can you rephrase I didn't hear it so well. Can you rephrase the question so that I can respond properly?
Yeah, so the opinion here is that people feel like this guy is cuckoo. So like, actually, yake si sawa, and that we shouldn't take him seriously. And I'm saying even earlier, John had told us, and I think he's even put a comment down there, that this is they're just trying to deflect our attention from important stuff. And I'm asking you, do you feel that it's that? Are they trying to deflect our attention? Do you think this is something we should ignore, or is it something that calls for our attention? Yeah, so those are some of the questions that probably you could help us answer, and maybe even the rest of the people in the speaker panel can also think about this, and even the listeners, if you can actually give us your contribution on this.
Okay. So thank you so much once again for this space, Leol, and also Ibe, the co-host. So I would like to respond to that question. I would like to say, number one is that this issue on the 1.2 billion church, 1.2 billion allocation of a church, it sounds very ironic, number one. Constructing an 8,000-seater church in the middle of a crisis right now as a country, it means that this is lack of proper planning, number one. And number two, it shows that the president has other priorities apart from the common mwananchi. You see? So now, here the issue is, how can you allocate such a large amount of money to a church? You know, a church, you can manage it, you can allocate, you can allocate something like, probably if you want something lavish or anything, over a million, let's say $1 million or $2 million. But if it reaches to a point that it is 1.2 billion, you know, the salary of a president right now is 1,034,000 Kenya shillings. Then you add the things like allowances, like vehicle allowance, transport allowance, airtime allowance, and etc. So there's no way you can tell me that getting a salary of, let's say, if it is 1 million or 2 million, that you have saved so much to the point that you are constructing a 1.2 billion church. So on that note, I think that is just a prop to try and distract us from our core objective. Right now, so this is just a distraction. So I'll respond to that. Number one, this is just but a distraction, because when the news came out, when the news came out, it was posted. I am also a blogger. I posted and reposted and asked very serious questions on this matter. But as per now, we just got information about 7 hours ago that he responded and said that, and he backed up his words, that he used that 1.2 billion from his own account, from his own family. Does he have all that money at such a disposal? I'll agree with another speaker who just said that obviously this is taxpayers' money. Obviously this is money allocated to, there is this issue of SHA right now. It is not going well. It is not working. Right now, I just received reports from my sources that the clinicians in Machakos, they are planning to have a 7-day strike because of because the government did not come into terms with did not come up with the terms that they had agreed. So you can see on that point, we have clinicians on this side. They are complaining, number one. We have the previous, maandamano that was happening, the cases between Diangui, you see, and the DCI, the IG, you see, the remarks by the CS Murkomen. You see, there is a lot of things going on. I think there is something like a prop to try and distract us. And then he goes on and says that when he came to State House, he found a Mabati church, an iron sheet church, and I quote, like seriously, like, you know, there's some things that you should be careful when you're mentioning as a leader. Anywhere where you are in a position of power, you should be very careful with your words. So the moment you are telling us that when you came to State House, you found a Mabati church, etc., etc., I would like us to tell him that this is just a distraction. Let's be more. Let's focus on more. And also the issue on when Diangui was released. You can remember that when people were posting his poster, Free Ndiangui, and it became viral. He was later released, and there was a court procession. He was summoned to the court, you see, etc., etc. You see, there is something like they're trying to distract us. Like if right now the youths are, you know, we are thinking about the Sabasaba Mandamano right now. Most of the youths right now, I've spoken to them, they are talking about the Mandamano on Sabasaba. So the moment you are trying to come up with such things like a church, 1.2 billion allocation to a church, like it's trying to drive our focus as the youth of Kenya from this the issue at hand to other issues such as the church and the DCI and the IG and other issues. So for me, that one is just a prop. It's going to try and distract us. If we are not vigilant, if we are not serious on this, we'll end up even Sabasaba may come and even people may fail to come up or something. But I just pray for all the best. Hashtag Sabasaba. Yeah. So unless there is any other question, our host Leroy and our co-host Ibe, you can ask me right now and I'll respond to it immediately.
Thank you, Erickson. You're saying it's propaganda. So yeah. So now, Sam, we are going to proceed with you, and probably you'll tell us, do you agree that it's propaganda? Do you think it's not? Yeah. I'd like to hear your mind on that, then Weston.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Ebe, for the opportunity. I think, first off, building a church 1.2 billion, it is wrong, it is unconstitutional, and it is madmanship. I can call it so. There's no better explanation you can ever give as to why you want to build a church in a government facility or on government grounds which belong to the people. I think that is wrong. A president is supposed to be as neutral as they can when it comes to religion. You don't, even if you're a Muslim, you don't propagate Muslim ideologies over other faiths. I think that is wrong. But what do I expect from William Samoei Ruto? What he doesn't shock me, by the way. Some of these things he doesn't actually shock me. That is his I don't know how best I can put it, but it doesn't occur to me that is abnormal from his side. I don't know. That is it. Number two, I think I like the conversation we're having on the space of young people when it comes to the political arena or the political space. It is a very healthy conversation. But I want to give you an example of what has been the role of young people negatively in our political process. 2022, I participated very actively in campaigning for a young man because in my constituency, we had been led by a very old guy. He started as a young man in 1990s, all the way. The only time he didn't make it to parliament was 2007 because Onyonka was was stronger than him, and he toppled him. But he came back and he led us all through to 2022. Now, this is where the problem is. You know, when you express a desire for an elected position, unajipanga kidesign fulani, you say, you know, I just want to give it a shot. and then you gather a few people who are young. I've never seen a people who gather an old people to start a campaign of. So unakusanya watu wachache who are young people, and then they'll give you ideas on how you go around the constituency so that you can convince people to cast their ballots in your favor. So first off is it's an expensive thing. You host like 15 or 20. You can start it from Nairobi or wherever you are. So you start that off. So it's an expensive thing. So the first monies that you have, you must make these people comfortable. Now, the ability of these guys to resist monies coming from opponents becomes a challenge. So if you're giving them like 10,000, the opponent will be having his team and he will be giving them 20,000. So 2-3 weeks off into the campaign period, if you started with 15, you are now at 5. The 10 people have decamped you, they have gone to the other side, the opponent. So you start afresh again. You must look for new people who believe in you because they spread information very fast. And then you have to assemble a communication team. There are people online, on Facebook, on Twitter, wherever they are, so that they can push your candidature. You are a good person, but people have to believe in you on the ground. This is a team of young people. People who will fight you the most online, Facebook, wherever, TikTok, are young people. They will push hashtags against you. They'll push a propaganda against you that, oh, Sam, he's been found in town with another lady. That man, you cannot trust him with your women anytime. I mean, those propaganda move like wildfire. So by the time you're hitting the ground, young people have fought you more than old people because kuna watu wanakungoja kwa ground, you speak to them. There are people who, the only thing they want from you is to come to the ground, waongelesha tu, waambie mimi ninaitwa Sam, and this is what I feel that our constitution is not going right, and this is what I will do differently. Itawapatia bursary and all that. You have to convince them so that they can feel comfortable in your leadership and they can trust you more than what the opponent is. Kampeni ikiendelea, kuna watu watakupiga zile vita physical. Moving from one ward to another, you find a host of young people who are very angry at you, who have taken money from your opponent, and they crush you literally. They'll break your cars, they'll break your I mean, the fight for a young man to win an elected position, the greatest fight they get is not from old people. It is from fellow young men and young women. And I think if we've come to that realization that as much as we fight these people, it is giving an opportunity to someone who is wrong to take up leadership. That is, I think that will be a good realization. It is not about religion or religious manipulation. It is financial manipulation. Zile pesa zinatumika kwa constituencies to propagate rumors, to propagate propaganda that young people have is the worst manipulation than religion. Religion, munaenda kanisa on Saturdays, you go to church on Saturdays because you have to attend these churches. You go to church on Saturday or on Friday for those who meet for whatever reason, or on Sunday. Unapatiana pesa kidogo because you have to be seen to be with the people in church. So unawaambia ndawanunulia viti and all that. Campaigns mingi zinafanyika outside of church. Hapo ndio pesa mingi inatumika. So financial manipulation is what gives Ruto the audacity to tell us whether you like it or not. Kama unapinga he is building a church of 1.2 billion, if you don't like it, wewe ni shetani. The audacity that he has is because he believes that these young people, ile kitu inawaongelesha ni njaa. Na pesa niko nayo, and they will follow what I say when it comes to campaign period. As to whether that has changed because of what we've gone through, the better. We shall see better leadership. Hata tukileta mtu, even if we form a political party, then we have a candidate that we are fronting. If we don't resist the urge of monies coming from our opponents, we will lose the battle from the baby steps. So until we resist the urge of taking free monies, we are going nowhere. Thank you so much, Ebe.
Thank you, Sam. Western, I think it's a good thing that you are coming up next, because Sam has pointed out a lot of things, especially regarding campaigns, the role of money in campaigning, and the role of youth in the campaigns, and how do we ensure that we are not gullible, considering that right now, especially, our financial ability has been really stifled. So how do you ensure that if today Western you're going to be vying for MP or even president, for example, how do you ensure that you don't have to maybe get trillions? Because I think your opponent will be running with the trillions in budget. How do you ensure that that does not become your biggest bomb in winning? How do you ensure that the youth are not the ones that are stopping you when ideally you're actually fighting for them? So these are very good, these are concerns and questions that answers to them would really come in handy. Esther.
Thank you, IAB and Leon. You can do very little. If you're operating in a political system that is highly monetized, you can do very little. Where no one knows who has got money from where, you can do very little about it. Where politicians contravene rules, how much you can spend in a given campaign, they don't pay attention to those things. So you swim with the current, or you hope that you're going to get said voters who will see you for who you are, the kind of stuff you stand for. Because that's our enduring shortfall. The politics is highly monetized. Let me talk about religion, and specifically Christianity. Lior and IAB, we are a reactive society. We struggle to join the dots. We do. There's nothing wrong with William Ruto's mind, unless you're not listening to him. This is one politician who centers God and Christianity in his politics. I mean, don't we listen to him? He attributes what he has achieved, the fact that he's the president of the Republic of Kenya, to God's intervention. You don't listen to him? You don't. I think we don't. He invokes God consistently. And that's why he said today he's not apologetic about that. Because even if people played a role in what he has become, he thanks God more than anything else. So you have to appreciate him from that perspective. It's not like the mind is not working. It is. In the run-up to campaigns in 2020, I don't know how many people were listening to conversations. His wife went public to say how there was dirty water in their current property. And she prayed over that water and it turned pure and clean, and they drank it. Did Kenyans listen to that? That was weird, it was bizarre, but we didn't pay attention. So it's now we are waking up. What is happening? Well, really? They are very consistent. They have been like this from the get-go, long before they got into the State House. They were not ashamed about their faith and their beliefs. And I think some Kenyans voted for them on that basis, very basis. And that's why Raila Odinga was unfavorably compared to them. He doesn't go to church. He doesn't know God. He's a heathen and stuff like that. You people don't recall the conversation that was there before 2020 elections. And I'm saying religion and Christianity, whatever you want to call it, and politics is not unique to Kenya. It's not unique to Kenya. In Ethiopia, Abiy Ahmed also thinks that God ordained him to lead Ethiopia. He calls himself the seventh king of Ethiopia. That long before he was conceived, his mother had a dream that he would bear a son, and that son would rule Ethiopia, and that dream has come to pass. You don't get that? He also centers religion in his politics. Pastors, evangelical pastors, they have justified even genocide against the Tigray people. They have. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church justifies his autocracy. This is God-ordained leader. It's not unique to Kenya. Modi in India relies on Hindu nationalism. India is a secular state, but under Modi, you may think Hindu is the foremost, religion. Hinduism is an ideology in India. And people are complaining, especially minority Muslims. We don't pay attention to these things. Putin uses the Russian Orthodox Church in his politics, and they bless his weapons before he goes to bomb Ukraine. And they say, yes, this is justified. This war is God ordained. You can go bomb them and kill them. They pray and pour holy water on fighter jets before they fly into the skies to bomb people in Ukraine. Are we not paying attention to this? In Turkey, Recep Tayyip, the president, he's prioritized Islam, but Turkey is a secular state. The founder of Turkey founded Turkey as a secular state, not a Muslim state. But under Tayyip, this is a Muslim state. It's wrong, but it's for his politics. So if you're against his politics, he could easily characterize you as a heathen, a pagan, somebody who should not be tolerated, who goes against, the Muslim values in Turkey. You have problems. Trump uses religion. That's why he has done away with the Roe versus Wade. Long standing ruling by the Supreme Court. He did away with it the other day, didn't he? Because he's defending Christian values in America. And the evangelicals love him for that. And the evangelicals constitute the bedrock of the Republican Party. Do we get these things? So it's not unique to Kenya. It's not. But I'm asking, why is it that you've been to school, you people have been to school? Why is it that in Kenya for the longest time, especially Catholic-sponsored schools, they would force Muslims to go for Mass, or people who are not Catholics? You don't know those things. No, you have to attend Mass, but you're not an adherent of the Roman Catholic Church. Okay, some institutions that are Christian-oriented, they will also force Muslims to go for Christian services. Until the other day, a court ruled on that it's unconstitutional to do that. So many Kenyans are actually like William Ruto. You just don't know. Perhaps you forget which schools you attended. Yes, I am a Muslim. I'm a Protestant in a Catholic-sponsored school, but I came here for education. I didn't come here for religion. I'm covered. I'm covered. I have nothing to do with the Roman Catholic faith, but you'll be forced. You'll be forced to attend Mass. You'll be forced to participate in those rituals. We haven't seen these things before, haven't we? So why do we have prayers before national functions? We're a secular state. In fact, we shouldn't have prayers. You come to those national functions having prayed from home. We come and we proceed. Where's the master of ceremonies? We'll start the ceremony, let's proceed. That is what a secular state looks like. But here, who's going to pray for us? Or after who's going to pray for us, closing prayer? No, you can go on your way home, you can pray. On your way home, you can pray. Let the function end and people go back to where they came from. In schools, prayer, who's going to pray for us? I mean, haven't we seen these things? So William Ruto is not an aberration. This is how we behave in Kenya. We take it that Kenya is a Christian country. Even academics will tell you that. No, this is a Christian country. And then where's the justification? I don't know what percentage of Kenyans constitute, Christianity. Or is that the justification? And they say, yes. Oh, really? And they will argue with you. They say, no, you are a heathen. What? Let me ask you, if today Aden Duale was to run for president, there are Kenyans who dismiss him as a terrorist. What is that? You are embedded in your faith, your Christian faith. That's why you think he can't be your president. That's bigotry. No, this guy here is a Muslim. I think he must be a terrorist. He can't be our president. No, they will say those things. How different are those things from what William Ruto is doing? How different are they? How many people have a position on the Gaza atrocities that the Israeli Defense Forces are committing? I will tell you, many Kenyans justify those atrocities. That Israel is a God, ordained country. These people constitute a race, set aside by God. Palestinians are on the wrong side of history. Even in the Bible, the Israelis are justified. How many people in Kenya will condemn the atrocities in Gaza? How different are you? Because William Ruto has pronounced himself on that conflict. He's on the side of Israel, owing to his biblical orientation and faith. He says, no, Israel is on the right side of history. They're justified to bomb Palestinians. It's even in the Bible. These people are special. So interrogate, just interrogate your own views on faith, and you realize they don't differ from William Ruto's. They don't. They are more or less the same. Christian religious education. I know of very many students in Kenya who struggle with Christian religious education, and they are good in other subjects, but you've joined a school where Christian religious education is compulsory. You have no choice. But I'm struggling in this subject. I could be using this time concentrating on something. No, it's compulsory. Have we asked those questions? Have we asked those questions as Kenyans? Why we have that kind of education system? No, because I'm in a Catholic-sponsored or so-called Protestant-sponsored school, Christian religious education is compulsory to all students. Ah, really? So how different are we from William Ruto? William Ruto is a product of the Kenyan society. When you look at him keenly, he's not different. He is. So when he says he found a church there, how come I didn't know? I've never been to State House myself. I didn't know there was a church there. Was there a church to begin with? What was he doing there? It doesn't matter whether it was Mabati, it was mud. There should be no such a structure within the precincts of State House. So if it was there, who erected it and for what purpose? And these newspapers who are telling us, can they tell us to a story they did years ago where they called out whoever was the tenant at that time? What is this structure doing here? What is it? You see how presidents, not in terms of heads of state, certain decisions set forth forms of behavior. So he's saying, I found a church here, I'm just modernizing it. It was there. So I'm not doing anything out of the ordinary. What I'm simply doing is to modernize it, but it was there before. How come people who have gone to State House, they didn't raise that issue? How come? How come they didn't make a lot of noise over that issue before? You may not have been to State House, so you wouldn't know. But there are people who have been to State House again and again and again, including these newspaper people and many other politicians who are making a lot of noise. How come they didn't raise that issue when they spotted that church in State House? How come? You know why, Liol and IAB, I'm telling you? Because we are reactive. And we are very much carried away by small things, not big things, not principles. The principle is a principle. It will apply today, it will apply tomorrow, it will apply next week. That's a principle. But if you didn't have that principle yesterday, suddenly you have that principle today, well, that person must be weak morally, very weak. Which why we try to establish what is the motivation behind the things we're saying. What is the motivation? You know what William Ruto lacks, Liol and IAB? In politics, you need a media. He does not have media. That's why he's really disadvantaged. This media, legacy media, has waged a scorched earth war against him. Standard is a Moi media, Moi family. There's no love lost between the Moi family and William Ruto. So every other time they will dig dirt on him and what have you. There's no love lost between William Ruto and the Nation Media Group and many of these media houses. So he's disadvantaged in that sense. That's why the narratives, they are running very fast. Even when those narratives cannot be justified logically. They are not. But they run nonetheless, because media is for propaganda in politics, usually for propaganda. So if you don't have your own media, you're really disadvantaged. That's why he's disadvantaged. He doesn't have his own media. And I don't know whether he's considering having his own media. So he's going to be bombarded by a lot of stories that were swept under the carpet before. They'll come to the fore. And Kenyans who are not critical will run with those stories and do. For me, there should be no church on State House. That's my position. There should be no church. This is a secular state. That's my position. But I will question the inconsistencies within our society. We can see wrongdoing today. We don't see it yesterday. We'll wait, we'll see tomorrow. No, that inconsistency is what we call hypocrisy. You don't build a country on hypocrisy. You cannot. To the extent that somebody else has asked, okay, so we're making a lot of noise over the church. What about when we were told that there was a bar at State House? Why weren't we worked up? That why would somebody have a bar at State House doing what? You go home and drink your alcohol from home. Where do you get time to take alcohol from State House? Where do you work? But we were told, yeah, there was a bar at State House. There was no noise. People are not worked up. So when he says you people are getting worked up, you're being worked up over your own small-minded politics, can you really impeach that position? Can you? So I'm saying let us be consistent. Let us be consistent. If I obey, if I hold you to a particular standard, let me hold Liol to the same standard, Abdullah to the same standard, myself to the same standard. Let me not keep shifting, lowering the bar when it comes to playing favorites. We are wont to playing favorites in Kenya, and that's not going to help us. Let's just do away with these prayers and say we're a secular state. Do away with this thing, this national prayer breakfast meetings. Do away with those things. Opening of parliament, do away with the prayers. You get to parliament, get to the business of the day. Students go to school, let the teachers address you, get to the business of the day. If you want to pray, pray from home. Come to school, let's get to the business. But we cannot, tolerate, the influence of religion and particularly Christianity in our lives. And when we see somebody doing exactly what we do, we somehow think, no, this is strange, this is odd. Constitutionally, there's no state religion in Kenya, period. That's beyond contestation. But it's also factually correct that some of us think that Kenya is a Christian country. We think so. We do. Why? Because every other time you meet a Christian. You look, this left is a Christian. You don't meet Hindus. You don't meet Muslims on a daily basis. What you meet Christians predominantly. So what is your conclusion? Which is flawed, is that this is a Christian country. No, it's not a Christian country. And that's why at workplaces, even those prayers at workplaces should not be entertained. If you have a meeting at the workplace, just have your meeting. After you are done, we wish you well, go back to your business. Don't have prayers. You pray when you're at your desk. Go and pray when you're seated at your desk. Pray to your God. Pray to your, if you're a Muslim, pray to your God. If you're Hindu, pray to your God. But don't bring your faith in the public. Don't do that. But we do it. We wear it as a badge of honor. So William Ruto is not an aberration. I'm very much concerned about the kind of media we have in Kenya, extremely biased. What for? To what end? You can't do that. Behaving like the Kangura newspaper in pre-genocide Rwanda or Radio Milkoli. As I heard Liol, I heard William Ruto say something today, which also vindicates me when I say many Kenyans think like him. He was addressing Kenyans in the diaspora in the UK. And listen to the things he said. Oh, Kenya has got the best human capital. I don't know whether it's in the world or I don't know. Yeah, they speak the best English, only second to the British. They work unsupervised. And what? Work unsupervised when they're referring to Black people. It means these are good natives. They don't cause problems. These are good natives. They can discipline themselves. They're not going to ask you so many questions. It's not a compliment. When we talk about Black people work unsupervised, that's not a compliment. These are good natives. They don't bring problems. At workplace, they're not going to be interested in labor issues. you're paying us little money and what have you. No, they will just take whatever you give them. And they're just happy that at least they've got a job. Somebody else doesn't have a job. Good natives. How can you say you speak English second to the native speakers? What do you mean? What exactly do you mean? But remember when we had a tiff with the Tanzanians, many Kenyans, you were using that. In Tanzanian parliament, people don't know how to speak English. How can they even treat Mother Karua like this? Oh my goodness. So now listen to him. Listen to him. He's speaking like most of us were doing just a couple of weeks ago. I'm telling you, Leon, IAB, we're like William Ruto. This is quintessentially a Kenyan. It's not a Tanzanian. It's not an Eskimo. It's not an aborigine. This is a Kenyan. Just listen to the things he says. And his mind is a typical Kenyan mind. It's very Eurocentric and colonial in orientation. I yield. Thank you.
Wow. So we should stop being so hard on William Ruto. It's time for us to look inside. That's what Western is telling us, to look inside. Pop, what do you think?
Please, host, thank you. I wanted to speak before Western because I think Western could have added more into, because me, I'm not into, because Western, I don't know how to describe him, because he psychology, theology, whatever. But anyway, so I wanted to speak before him so he can add. Anyway, to me, in terms of religion, me, I was schooled in a Catholic school. So high school, you pray like 5-6 times a day. Most of it, but it was okay because they never forced us to become priests. The education was okay. So after education, you decide if you want to be a priest, be a priest. If you want to be whatever, they give you the best education. If you want to be a doctor, engineer, do whatever, it's okay. So that's why it was okay. But still, I came from a poor background. So the school was very expensive. The way Western always says, religion, church, you're not supposed to be in business. The school was supposed to be, in terms of reality, you'll think it was supposed to be one of the cheapest schools in Kenya, isn't it? But it was one of the most expensive. So unashangaa, nilikuwa nafukuzwa shule kila semester, every semester, because semester Kenya hata waseme semester, every term.
Sorry, Pop, go on. Yeah, I pressed by mistake. Go on, Pop. Pop, endelea. Sorry, I just pressed the wrong button.
Sema mpaka headmaster anatuambia ati, anaambia baba, I'm standing next to my dad obviously. Anamwambia kama huwezi afford shule mpeleke shule ya bei rahisi. Na unajua sisi ati si ni Catholic damu from this 5 years. My life has been in church, Catholic church. Mi shule ikifungwa hata sitafutwi na wazazi. Wakinitafuta watanipata kwa kanisa. Naanza asubuhi sijui mass 6. Mass ikishaisha, hiyo priest alikuwa mzuri. Hiyo ilikuwa mmoja alikuwa kutoka Amerika, mwingine alikuwa Irish. Wanatupikia breakfast. After hapo table tennis, walikuwa wanapenda table tennis the whole day. Alafu ball, naenda kucheza ball na kiwanja hapo kando, mpaka alikuwa na coach timu ya mtaa. Alikuwa Mjerman, alikuwa pia alisoma academy za mi na siku moja ndo munifungulie tu space niwapatie my life story. Hii ni ya mtaa, ana coach timu ya mtaa because he was very passionate about, so mpaka timu ya mtaa inakuja church, wanakuja tu just to give him, what do you call it, just to promote him. After hapo anaambia okay, tutakutana saa 4. Anaenda zile mazoezi za Europe, anafanya ana volunteer mpaka matimu zingine zinakuja tu kuona zile mazoezi anafanyia watu, and he was a priest. Lakini obviously Kenya is a good country, so after that ilikuwa Society of Missionaries in Africa. So there are missionaries from all over the world, US, Europe. So the church was being run by missionaries, and it was perfect. Hiyo mtaa yetu, I didn't want to speak much, lakini wacha niwafungulie kitabu sasa. Hiyo mtaa yetu ilikuwa mtaa mbaya, ni hood. Sasa hiyo account, watu wengi after standard 8 they don't go to high school. Me, obviously my dad was strict, lazima tuende high school. And then my dad also, siku natua gava nasikia hapa shauri ya my dad alifungwa na kina Raila, hizo mambo za 82 Air Force whatever. Wakatuship sisi wote tukatoka Kenya. So lakini before that tumeishi mtaa ni mbaya. So huyo mtu akaanza anaona tu to help this neighborhood. Akaanza hizo mashule, akaanza kwa ndani ya kanisa, akafungua shule ya wanawake ya kushona. Watu wakadonate, wakanunua sijui charani ngapi, hizo vitu za kushona ni charani, whatever you wanna call it. Akafungua carpentry school ndani ya shule tu, ndani ya kanisa, carpentry school, kwa sababu a lot of people after wengine hata wamaliza standard 8, 6, 7, then they start doing BS. But then what is education? That is the biggest question. But some skills, if you're carpenter, tailor, plumber, alifungua hizo vitu ndani ya kanisa, akaleta watu wamevolunteer ni kufundisha watu hizo ma skills. So he improved the neighborhood completely. Alichange your neighborhood. Hata alikuwa mzungu na anatembea tu, hata hawezi nyongwa, na siku na nyongwa, tunapigwa manyongolo. Lakini mimi nilikuwa mtu wa mtaa, sipigwi nyongolo, lakini by 6 you have to be home by 6. Lakini ya nyongo hata saa 4 ona huyu ndiye anatuokolea. So hiyo church ilikuwa na obviously ma church za Katoliki zingine ziko na siasa mengi. Watu walikuwa nakula pesa. Akapongeza vitu zote, so akaanza kusema yeye ni mtiaji hiyo church committee, kwa sababu he was very strict. Hata masadaka baada watu tuma church committee sengine wanaiba sadaka, so alika hizo vitu sadaka, watu wakimaliza hivi wangu wanapeleka huko nyuma, yeye ndiye anapeleka yeye mwenyewe, anapeleka kwa nyumba, alafu ndiye anarudi kanisa iendelee, akishapeleka sadaka. So akaanza kuona huyo ni mtiaji, mabarua. So he was transferred to kwa mama Sai huko. I don't know why he was my best friend. He used to pay, yeye ndiye alikuwa ananilipia shule actually. He used to pay for my school. Yeye ananilipia nusu. The other priest was from US, Chicago somewhere. So he used to pay the other half. I'm a quarter, so my dad used to pay just minimum. The priest used to pay. They paid for my school. So you can find some good religious people. Me, my missionaries wamenisaidia sana. My life, without missionaries, I wouldn't be where I am right now. Wamenisaidia. So anyway, kanisaidia hata mali naishi sahizi, sitawaambia naishi wapi, lakini siko Kenya. Hao walinipea kila kitu. Nikapata, sikuwa mjinga, nikapata ma scholarship. Alafu pia mimi ni mtu wa ball, nikapata za ball. Alafu nikaongeza za academic. So mimi niko sawa sahizi. Sahi nalipia, I don't know, maybe 8, 9 people nawalipia school fees. Wengine hata nawalipia rent, hizo za college. Hizo wanaishi sijui kando ya shule, kwa sababu mtu anaambia tu ana chakula, hata leo ana chakula na pesa ya rent. nasema naweza sacrifice, naweza skip my lunch, nilipie ni pesa kidogo. Ile pesa nda skip lunch ndalipia huyo mtu rent, alafu naweza mlipia chakula pia, hata tuseme 5,000 shillings itamsaidia. Na niambie rent sijui ni 3,000 ama 4, alafu ingine ujipange, alafu katikati ya mwezi pia nitakupanga. But I just get so disappointed the way your life saizi iko, but I try to help as much as I can. Lakini sasa in terms of religion, ndio nawambia okay, religion mimi imenisaidia, but still it's BS. Hiyo priest nawambia alisaidia, alifungua hiyo school of carpentry, plumbing, hiyo ya kushona ndani ya kanisa, na akajenga, alitafuta donations na akajenga. Si wakamtoa akampeleka kwa Masai huko, kwa sababu yeye alikuwa hao ndio yani mtu hata ukamweka president, hao ndio leaders. Wao mtu mnasema sijui leader, hao ni mapolitician, mimi sijui, mimi ni mwana leader, change agent. Mtu anakuja ana change the whole system, alafu mnaona tu, you just see the changes, unaona mwenyewe. Hata kuambia he doesn't speak much, anasema hii fanywe hivi, fanywe hivi, fanywe hivi, and he doesn't talk much. Lakini kwa Masai pia kulikuwa na a lot of corruption, hiyo church ya Masai, a lot of corruption. So he brought a lot of, so alikuwa washanirusha huku, walishanitoa Kenya wakanipeleka abroad. So after 2 years, kwa sababu they used to come home, tunawapikia tu, tunakula tu machakula tu, wanapenda hizo local food. So my dad ananipigia simu, hata hataki kuniambia, naambia hata hataki kuambia your best friend, kwa sababu niko naongea naye, nimempigia simu mara kadhaa ashike, anaambia Wamasai walimuua, because Masai walikuwa very corrupt. Huyo msee alienda akachange vitu huko, wakakasirika. Unajua alikuja kwa nyumba yake, kwa sababu he never needed security, because if you're doing the right thing, why do you need security? Alafu priest unatafuta security nini? Walikuja wakamuua usiku.
You can maliza in 2 minutes, please.
2 is a lot, maybe one and so alimuua usiku. They came and killed him at night. Ndio nikasema Kenya, like, mtu akileta changes za maana, you don't want it. And then before we address the future, hiyo ndio mimi naambia ukweli. Hiyo Western amesema vitu mingi, but mimi nasema tu, before we address the future of anything, we have to look at the history, isn't it? So how did we end up with Zakayo Kaongo? How did we end up with him? We have to address that before we even think about tumtoe aje nini. How did we end up with him? Hiyo ndio swali mimi nataka hizi space mto. How did we end up with him? Because unless you just came to Kenya as a sijui nani, umetoka from the sky uka land Kenya, you don't know him, don't you? Maybe. But everybody knew he was a murderer, isn't it? He was a land grabber, isn't it? He was a thief, isn't it? He did everything like the worst of the worst. He was the worst of the worst before he became president. So how did we end up with him? People voting for him. Hiyo ndio tunafaa tu address. Alafu ndio tutafikiria future, because mi sitawadanganya, mi ni Mjaluo. So watu wanasema mbona Wajaluo ndi maandamano? Because people have not addressed this question. How did we end up with this guy? We knew he was a killer. We knew he was a land grabber. We knew he was all of the. So how did we end up with him? So wacha niamalizie hapo. We have to address that before tufikirie future. Sawa, poa.
Who was next? I just came in. Who was the next speaker?
watu walikuwa next drop most of them, but we have Tribeless and I think Kukurukakra anataka kulibattle, so we'll have Tribeless then Kukuru.
Hello, are you getting me?
Loud and clear, Tribeless, go on.
Thank you very much. Me, I'm very happy in this platform this evening. Lakini sasa mimi nashangaa sana. Hii tuna discuss nini? Mimi nashangaa Kasongo ametengeneza kanisa ya 1.2 billion. Iko hapo kwa State House. Na hiyo inamaanisha nini? Inamaanisha State House sasa ni ya Christians peke yake. Au wengine sasa tutafanya aje? Ile tu ni kitu Kasongo atuambie full details ya hiyo funding ya hiyo kanisa yake. Alafu atuambie hiyo kanisa yake anaitoa lini kwa hiyo State House. Hiyo State House ni yetu sisi wote kama Wakenya. Na sisi si wa Kristo peke yake. Sasa yeye atuambie tu hiyo siku Sabasaba akiondoka anaondoka na hiyo kanisa ama ana renounce hiyo kanisa inakuwa a religious chapel. Si ya Christians, si ya Muslims, ya Hindus, ya kila mtu. Na tupe details, tunataka tujue hiyo kanisa imechukua pesa gapi na parliament ijue through Wetangula atuambie mwana wa Ingo. Atuambie wali oversight nini hiyo kanisa ikitengenezwa. Na watuambie payslip ya Samuel ni pesa gapi. Wanalipaga hii pesa gapi? Na hiyo kanisa 1.2 billion. Hiyo project ilianza lini? Nani contractors? Na hizo details zote tunataka kuona before hii Sabasaba. We don't want that church there. First of all, na ya pili, we don't want Kasongo there. So Kasongo plus the church must get out of that State House. Na kama Kasongo atatoka kiwanja kanisa, atuachie hiyo kanisa kama si kanisa, ni nyumba tu ya mawabada ya mambo ya Mungu, si mambo ya kanisa ya Kristo. Ama namna gani? So nasema asante kwa hiyo.
One second. Me, I'm just worried about huyu mtu anatengeneza church ya 1.2 billion na hiyo church itamalizwa in 2 years. Unafikiri hiyo church wakimaliza kutengeneza atakubali kutoka? That's the
ndio mimi nasema hivi. That's what I'm saying. Kasongo should live with the church. We don't want that particular structure wakani hapo kwa State House. You know that State House is not ya mtu binafsi. Katiba inasema that State House is ours. It's an unifying factor of the state of Kenya. So how can we have a church inside State House? Sasa in case tutachagua Muslim ataenda kutengeneza mosque huko ndani. Tena tukichagua tena Muhinduism anaenda kutengeneza temple. So hiyo State House hiyo land sitajaa sana na hizo vitu zao za mchezo ya ujinga hiyo. First of all, hiyo kanisa hiyo kitu iishe, hiyo biashara ya kutengeneza hiyo kanisa. Wacha wa suspend kwanza. Nataka mnipe clear advice vile tunaweza enda in that hiyo project isimame kidogo, tukifikiria vile tutaitoa hapo ama tuibadilishe. Ndio so tayari wameitengeneza. Then tujue ni nani anahusika zaidi ama ni Murkomen. Kama si Murkomen ni Kibet, Faruk. Those people, those are evil guys in this nation. We don't want them. Kasongo, the church, and those other dramas. What is the issue too? Hii tarehe 7 on Monday. I think I'm resting my case there. Thank you.
Kukuru, sijui you want to go then Forester. Na mkumbuka Western alituambia tulikuwa na selective amnesia. We only see what we want to see. So as you also rebuttal, we still need to look inside. We need to retrospect or introspect and ask ourselves, are we being biased? Why did we scream when Uhuru had a liquor, a pub? Okay, let's call it what, a pub in the State House. So yeah.
Your Pop asked a very good question. Like, how did we end up here? Like, ile yani tukiangalia like as a nation, yani tulifikiaje kwa huyu Kaongo? Like, hapo ndo tuki address hiyo issue, tunaweza maybe figure out where we need to be from that point, because maze, see, as a country we are like super brilliant people, like tuko like the brains are there, like tunaelewa, like na tunaona, but then how does mseka Ruto anafikia anatuingia na tuletea vitu kaa hizi. This is like basically venye nilisema like ni manipulation, but like the things ambazo zinaweza kuwa zimetuleta to this point, like to kuwa honest, like honestly, like vitu kaa tribalism, hizo zimeplay like a major role, like tribalism, like ile mtu huu ni msee wetu, huu ni mtu, hiyo naitaga mtu wetu syndrome. Hiyo imetu push like to where we are, like tuna empower our ma thieves like under the tribal flags, like una get like, yani umse alitumia hiyo tribalism akatuleta yani kwa hiyo level yake, na tuka fall for it, tuka normalize corruption, alafu saizi anatumia religion yani kutu push hizo mamoves zake, alafu wasee wa church ndo yani wana fall into that trap. Like I mean media pia on the other side ndo hiyo yani pia iko hapo tu, media imekuwa pia upuzi. Unacheki mseka huyo Wino, why would the media like entertain mseka huyo, like ile anapata airtime for what reason? Like msee kama yule Owino tena sema ati yule msee wa mask ati Kariuki ati alisema ati sijui nini ati alirusha kasla ati that's why, so ana try ku justify ati that's why he was shot. Like media yetu pia ni puzi, like so like some of them saizi maybe wana try sasa kupush like on a different level, but I mean hii system ambayo imekuwa yani I think tumekuwa tuna allow impunity iendelee for too long, and I mean it has to stop. Like inafika ile place sasa saizi ndo nasema yani inabidi tu yani turudi kwa wajibu wetu sisi kama Wakenya sasa we have to change the country like going forward. I mean that's what I think. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Kokoro. Let's have Erickson. Hi, Eric.
Hi, how are you? I hope you're okay. I've listened to quite a number of these guys here, and much has been said. I would just like to say one thing. Number one is that, and I'll first respond to my predecessor speaker. Ameuliza that tulifanya aje ndio tukafika hapa. So nitaanza na kujibu swali yake. So number one, tulifika hapa the moment tulichaguanga William Ruto as our president over Raila Odinga. So when somebody gets into power, the people who change, the people who remain the same. So in our case, for our president right now, His Excellency William Ruto, what I can say is that he has changed. He has changed a lot. We have come to know all sides of him, and now we're yani tumefika mahali penye we want him gone. We have kumekuwa na hizi blogs, Ruto must go, hizi tweets, hashtag siri ni numbers, hizo vitu zote. So vitu kama hizi vile zimeanza kutokea sahi, just shows you the type of man he is, and the and the urgency that we have, the urgency that is needed so that we can do away with him as much as possible, so that as early as possible, so that tuendelee na mambo ingine. So juzi nimeona some of the youths wana post that wanasema ati William Ruto wamtumie pay bill, ati watume play bill ya William Ruto, alafu tumtumie pesa sisi kama the youths, ati ndio hiyo pesa imebaki ya kuruli hiyo remaining 1 year, atoke tu resign. So that was really funny, but what I can say right now, ujue the MPs are on his side. You remember what happened with the 2024 finance bill yenye tulikuwa tunasema reject. Unless it was revealed that alikuwa anapatiana 2 million Kenya shillings to MPs so that they can vote yes. So this shows you the amount of money and the amount of power he has. So when it comes to basis of impeachment, it is very, very hard to impeach him as of now. Unless the MPs wakae chini waone wenyewe hii kitu haitaendelea hivi, then sasa ndio wafikirie kupass a motion that he should be impeached. But as per now, the current MPs in the current administration right now, saini wanafanya kenye Ruto anawaambia. So William Ruto akiwaambia mfanye hivi, wanafanya hivi. Ukiwaambia pass a certain bill, wanapass. Hata sisi wananchi tukikataa kitu na tuseme reject na tuende maandamano, bado wanapitisha. So I want to show you something that right now he's the one who is, yeye ndio kusema sahi, he has the power, he has the mandate right now. Another situation penye tuliona that he has a lot of power is when the government ordered the Communications Authority of Kenya to block all the media and all the TV stations from airing the maandamano. So nataka muone like umse akona power. Yes, tunaweza kuwa tunasema ati kuna Royal Media Services zenye they are probably not for him. Kuna Kina Nation, kuna The Standard, you see. Okay, yes, kuna hizi media houses and KTN nini hizo zote. But the moment the government yenyewe imesema that you should stop airing them out, that shows you the amount of power that this guy has, the amount of power he has as a president. So unless it's either he gets impeached, number one, it's either he changes his advisors, you see, or it's either we vote him out in the 2027 general elections. So for now, these issues that are coming about, kama hii 1.2 billion allocation of a church project, hizo saa tuseme, it's something that is almost, but as the youth of Kenya, we need to speak up. We need to be more vigilant. We need to be more active on such things. Bloggers pia wanaendelea kupost. Nimeona tu sahi. People are very active right now here on X, on this X platform. Wanapost vitu kama venye shule ziko currently versus allocation ya 1.2 billion to a church. Just imagine what 1.2 billion can do to the education sector. Shule zenye ziko huko shule zenye ziko Turkana, ziko Pokot, shule zenye ziko all these other rural and undeveloped counties, that is, that amount of money can really boost kujengwa classes mpya na vitu mingi sana kufanyika. So that 1.2 billion, like and if you can look at the current budget, the amount that is being allocated to State House, it is really such a huge amount. It's a really big amount, and I don't know why it is always like that. That anytime we have anytime we have this budget being read, we always have a lot of money being allocated to State House. So we need to look into that. There is even something more bigger than this church that this church will probably use. If it is passed, you can find out that this church will use probably something like 1 million or something. And what about the rest of the money? Remember, it is 1.2 billion. And let the president not lie to us that he has used his own money from his own accounts, or that he has been given money from his friends. To go to the United States using taxpayers' money. I don't know, I think according from sources, it was 200 million Kenya shillings to hire a private jet to go to the USA. You see, like all that money you can't, if you're earning, if kwani inamaanisha analipo pesa ngapi? Like, you guys, I want you to look at this from a different perspective. Like, how much money does he have? How can you hire 200? How can you hire a private jet worth 200 million Kenya shillings to take you to USA and then come back? And right now, you are allocating 1.2 billion to a church. And if this is the case, why can't he also build a mosque there at State House grounds? That is public property, number one. Public property should not be used in such a manner. Yes, he's the president, he's the chief of the armed forces, but it should not be allowed. You know, the parliament can regulate the powers of the president. They can pass a bill to reduce or to increase the powers of the president. So right now, our government, the state right now, our government, it is broken. The parliament, same thing is broken. So what I would urge everybody right now is that let's stay vigilant, number one. When it comes to if kama hataenda, if tutajaribu si wote as the youths na Mr. William Ruto akose kuenda nyumbani, hashtag Ruto must go now. Kama hata go for now, it is high time kila mtu aende a register as a voter. Kama hujachukua ID, kama bado iko ama hujaiendea, for all those who have gotten it, wamepata juzi zetu zote endea. Kama uko na waiting, ngoja pia si mbaya, so that once it comes to 2027, we are going to vote him out. You can see CS Kipchumba Murkomen sahi, he's being deemed unfit. You see, he's being deemed unfit over the shoot to kill orders. So what does this tell you about this government? We have a CS right now speaking and saying that he has given the mandate to police officers to shoot to kill orders. Hey, atakama manze, like, you guys, this government, it's really disheartening, it's really discouraging. We have had even more posts from The Economist, post that if William Ruto proceeds to a second term, Kenya will be headed to the wrong direction. According to studies, it has just been proven that 81% of Kenyans are convinced that Kenya is heading to the wrong direction. So for me, all that, apart from this 1.2 billion church thing, this prop that is being used right now to distract us from the maandamano that is being planned on Monday. Let's just leave it at that. Let's continue hosting these spaces and discussing such matters and so on and so forth. But for now, we just have to lay low, wait for maandamano on Monday. Everybody should come out in huge numbers so that we can try our level best. Yeah. So this is my last, and in summary, this is what I would just like to say. We have a broken government, we have a broken system. It needs to be corrected. But since we can't do it right now, since it is almost impossible right now, we can vote them out. We can vote them out in 2027. Remember that right now we are remaining around 6 months so that we are done with this year. And so that when it comes to 2026, we just have 1 year of campaigns, and then 2027, we have the elections. You can see, like right now, I was just surprised to see that hired goons were paid to go and vandalize vehicles for the opposition who are having a Western tour. Kama mmeangalia hizo magari, kama mmeona hizo magari, mmeona venye zimevunjwa vioo, mawe zikarushwa, and all that. Yes, this is politics, and politics is a dirty game. But does it mean simply because you are not appeased by your opposition, does it mean that you are allowed to hire goons to go and attack your opposition? Remember, these are fathers, these are mothers, these are people who have families. What would have happened if some of the opposition party leaders would have died. It would have brought the country to a political standstill. So this is really disheartening. The lack of priority that we have seen in this government, the lack of priority and misplaced priorities that are happening in this government, it's really disheartening and very, very alarming. So instead of this issue on the 1.2 billion charge, the government should focus, should prioritize the number one. We have clinicians right now in Machakos County who are giving a 7-day strike. They are threatening to have a 7-day strike. Those are clinicians from that part of the country. Otherwise, in this other ministry, in the Ministry of Health, the same thing, we are seeing these issues of SHA. And right now, I've just seen the president commenting that and encouraging Kenyans to join in SHA. Yet, we have seen that it is into some places it is not working. It is bringing a lot of controversy. You see, we have the DCI right now, the issue of Ndiang'ui. Like, there are a lot of issues that are happening right now in the country, and yet the president can afford to come up with an idea to build a 1.2 billion Kenya shilling church. If so, then why can't he also build a mosque? He can also build a temple so that the State House can be a place where everybody comes to worship. But is that really the essence? Is that really needed right now? Is that really needed? No, it is not. So this is just too much. The president should stop this. This propaganda is now too much. This is just too much. So that's all for me. Right now, I'll just like to say thank you, Leol, for having me, and to all the other speakers. Probably you can add on what I've said, or even if you have a correction, I'm free here. Just speak. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Erickson. Steve, you can come in before we close this. Steve and then Forrester. Steve Amenya,
Sorry, is that
there?
sorry? Oh, that's me. I'm fine, thank you. Yes, thank you for the speakers just spoken and the others who spoken before that. My main answer to that question, why, how do we get ourselves here, is so many factors. The first being that we, as a nation, have trusted our politicians, just like we trust any other professionals to do their job. That is, when they go to parliament, we believe that they have the best interest of the voter at heart, that they're representing the voter. Little did we know that, unlike the way we expect other professionals like teachers to do their job, like doctors, we don't go asking the doctor that, are you sure what you prescribed is correct for me? Because we expect them to do their job. We expect them that they have our best interest at heart. Same with the teachers. We expect them to teach our children properly. But in this case, Kenya, especially our politicians, are not actually following this rule. They are serving their own interest, they are eating money, and they're being given money to be against the very voter who brought them to parliament. And that is what has brought us here. Secondly, we've got a president who clearly, and someone has said that that he has changed. He has not changed. Ruto has not changed one bit. If you follow Ruto's career, all the scandals about corruption have dogged him since the 90s. Literally, the moment he got in as MP, he was looking at the parastatals and getting himself involved in all kinds of shady deals. He was always in the dock, answering to corruption charges. Even the killings is not new. Remember, it was a nice city, and there were so many witnesses who disappeared. Talk about Yebei, who disappeared and was found. So the same people who were surrounding and who made sure that he be at accident to become this who are heading the shadowy abduction squads that we have right now. So he has not changed. He's only in power and with his one in executive system. He's been doing all his career. And so the other thing that has happened is we went into our old ways of being tribal. emphasized in the way we elect our leaders. People used to come together and group themselves into a coalition, and then we vote for them based on that coalition. And in this last coalition, remember, back in 2017, 2018, after that election, which was very disappointing for Kenyans, after being overruled by the Supreme Court, and then this repeat election was, of course, a sham. People started calling for a election that represented the people, because people realized that we're going to have a situation where we're going to choose between the devil and the deep blue sea, and Ruto and Reda. And people started saying, a pace independent. Remember, get former Makueni governor, what's his name, the gentleman. We were telling him to come into the ballot and to elect him, but he sort of shied off, and we didn't have an alternative candidate. And of course, we went into that the proposal to change the constitution by Raila's team Azimio, BBI, and people were fighting over that. And before we knew it, we were in 2022, and there we had it. We had two main candidates, and we had to choose between them. And that's what got us here. So people made the choice, and I for one, I don't believe that Ruto won that election. It was very much contested. There was a lull of about 3 days. Remember how long we waited for that election when the counting stopped at Bomas for about 3 days. There was a lull, and then suddenly, that announcement was made. All the irregularities with 3 against 4, 4 against the chairman and 2 other commissioners. There was something going on there that was shady, and I for one don't believe a bit that he won that election. But be it as it may, we've got a president in power who lacks legitimacy and who is riding roughshod over the constitution. Like even building a church in State House, he's not even hiding nowadays. He comes out and says, "You cannot tell me not to build a church in State House. I will build it." And then he adds on and says, "I've built it using my own money." Of course, no one believes it. No one believes that he's actually using his own funds, because he has proven again that he's a serial liar. So people don't believe he's using his own funds. I mean, if he was using funds as on the land, build a house that is doing it basically for his own purposes. And you can, from what he's doing, the way he has the house, the way he's adding structures to a State House, someone doesn't look like he's living there anytime soon. He's someone, clearly, he knows most of the country, almost 90%, I would say, rough estimate, modestly, again, and they want him out. They're saying 1 term. But there he is, apparently, supposedly investing 1.2 billion in a church, which is not going even to be used after 2 years. So you see he's hell-bent on making sure that he is back again in 2027. And we as a people need to have a plan. Right now, we're on this X-Space, we are reacting to Ruto's latest move. And if you're not see what this guy is doing, and he's going behind him, keep blasting shock and think that keep because he's become why more special time to build also you're building a movement as you bring together a strong political coalition and put the Gen Z and the millennial vote and all progressive Kenyans in one basket as a movement, then let's do it. If we decide that we're going to form a political party, and which is the best way to, which is the main custodian of democratic progress the world over, if we decide we're going to form a political party and build it, let's do it. What I don't want us doing is to focus mainly on reacting to what Ruto is throwing, because he's not even in position when he does these things. So what he's doing, we are following him wherever he's going into the bush, out to the constitution, and you're following them there to react to it. And we will be losing precious time. Before we know it, 2027 is going to be here. The main coalitions are going to be taking shape, and we will be forced again to choose like Ruto and maybe someone like Matiang'i or Gachagua or Kalonzo, because we will not have planned ourselves to have a serious enough candidate to offer us an alternative option. So that's important, really, and that's what I'd like to try to pump when I come to this, is that let's be proactive. let us work to build a movement that is not only just focused in 2027, that can just continue being that safeguard against the decline of our democracy, the erosion of our democracy. Because we know about eternal vigilance and democracy. They are two sides of the same coin. So let's like be that is working towards building an organized movement of the party. I would like to be part of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve. Let's have Foresta and New Kenya before we end the space.
Asante Leon. Nadhani nimestruggle sana kumsikiza nani, sijui ni network yangu mbaya ama ni yake.
No, nilikusikia poa.
Mimi yeye ndo sijamsikia akiongea, ni kama alikuwa nakatika sana.
Can you
So,
go on, Foresta?
Okay, sasa mimi najaribu kujibu tulijipataje hapa kwa Ruto. One, tulienda kwa siasa, tukapiga kura na tukachagua yule mtu ambaye tulimuona kwamba ni mzuri kwa kuliko wa wengine. Personally, mimi nilimpigia Raila kura. But up to now, hata kama kushinda hizo kura ama whatever happened, mimi I'm very grateful kupata. The reason being, after watu wote wameingia kwa kiti, ukiangalia sometimes back I was listening to mtu kama Kaluma na nilikuwa naona ni kama ako na akili, but I don't know ni sijui nini ili happen. Totally, yani jamaa ana akili kabisa, na si yeye peke yake, ni wote. So sometimes nikikaa chini hivi najiuliza, hata kama nilimpigia Raila kura angepata na the way they were bunge wake wana reason, kungekuwa na changes gani? It's like you are having the same people whichever hata kama nikipigia Raila, hata sahi tukipigia labda Matiang'i, it's the same. Tukipigia huyo hata Maraga ni the same. Unaona? These people it's like wote wanajificha tu nyuma ya sisi. Before kuja kujua the real character ya huyu mtu, it is too late. Sahi nimejaribu kumsikiza mtu kama Sudi sahi, na hiyo just thumping unaona ako nayo kwamba hata mseme one term, mseme two term, tuko hapa mpaka 2032. Unaona? You come to listen to Ruto anakuambia nimejenga kanisa, I'm not apologetic for it. Shetani hata akitaka afanye vile anataka. Unaona? So ukisikiza huyo mtu unaona kabisa he doesn't care, yani nyinyi muongee msiongee, it's none of his business. Hiyo ni shauri yenu. Unaona? So imefika mahali sisi wenyewe kama youths, yani it's like we need to redefine direction ya nchi mahali inaenda. Unaona? It's not just as an individual kama ni president and president. It's just the whole system. The whole system ibadilike. Sometimes mimi uketi hivi unajiuliza hata constitution tulipitisha 2010, how beneficial is it to us? Or the cost of running the government, it is too expensive for us. So hata tukienda maandamano, turuke, turushe mawe, turudi kwa nyumba tumeumia, at the end of the day we are not helping anything. Sahi hata Ruto ni kama sahi ametuzoea. Amejua kwamba hawa watakuja huku warukeruke, wakimbie town, wakule tiagas, warudi nyumbani and nothing will change. We don't have something we need. Na sahi by the maandamano itafika mahali ina lose relevance. We don't have something we are fighting for. Hatuwezi sema tu peke yake ti Ruto must go. It's not enough. It's not enough kabisa. It's like we need something real. Sahi sometimes me feel like hata yani kuna vile tunastahili hata kurestructure the government itself, hata ikuwe cheaper kwetu kuiran, unaona, na pia ikuwe accountable to individuals ambao wako kwa hiyo siasa. Mimi wezi niambia sahi eti mtu amekupea 2 million ifanye project, then 2 million imepotea, you can't explain mahali imeenda, hauwezi fanyiwa kitu. That's how politicians wako. wanakopa loan trillions of money inaingia kwa serikali, it's not accounted for, na mtu anapelekwa kotini na hakuna kesi. Then you wonder kama huyu mtu alikuwa na hii pesa na haikufanya kazi na ilipotea, who is accountable for it? Kama hawezi fungwa, kama hana makosa, then hiyo pesa ilienda wapi? Bora. So I think the system it's so wrong. Na wabunge ukiangalia, unaona kama juzi vile walijaa parliament wakipitisha ile mswada ambayo inawafaidisha wao, almost 90% walikuwa. But wait until usikie kuna bill labda ni education, utakuta wabunge 20 wako parliament. Bora. Yani they just don't care. Sasa mimi hujiuliza, why do we have a lot of MPs in parliament but in the representation and in the real sense hawatusaidii? Why do we have so much MCAs, women rep, senators and all of them hakuna kitu wanafanya? Bwana, these people wakiungana they do what they think is good to them. Hii kile kitu kinatusaidia sisi. Bwana. So sometimes hata kama tunapigana, I think as youths kando na kupigana kwamba tubadilishe nini mtu ambaye yuko kwa kiti, we just need to rethink the system itself. Unaona? Tukuje, it's like yani tunahitaji a new mind, hata kama ni constitution bana ibadilishwe tu, tukuwe na kitu ambayo sisi inatufavor sisi. Unaona? Sometimes most of us sahi labda ni 30s and ama below 30s. Unaona? Those people are making decisions kwa niaba yetu, ni mtu amebakisha less than 5 years labda wengine wakufe. Unaona? God forbid. Lakini that's nature. Unaona? Mtu yuko 87, yeye ndiye anatuamulia sisi vile tutaongozwa. 87 mtu amebakisha sijui ni miaka 2 aende. Unaona? Na ndiye anatuambia sisi hii constitution tunataka ikue hivi. Unaona? It was good for them at their time. Unaona? Saa hii hata sisi tunastahili yetu kwa muda wetu saa hii at our own generation. Unaona? Something ambayo inatusaidia sisi. Unaona? Na pia sisi tuache kuegemea ati kwamba huyu ni mtu wetu. Unaona kama Msudi anaenda kwao na very proudly anasema hata mseme nini tuko hapa mpaka 2032 ndio tufikirie kama tutatoka. Unaona? Yaani unaona hiyo kitu mimi sijui kama inakasirishanga watu wengine. Unaona mtu kabisa yani ni kama kiburi fulani, ni maringo fulani. Mtu anakuambia yani direct to your face hakuna kitu utanifanyia. Unaona? Nitakupiga na hakuna kitu utafanya. Unaona? Nitaiba na hakuna kitu mtafanya. Tuko hapa mpaka 2032. Mkubali, mkatae ni sisi. Unaona? Which is so wrong. Unaona? Sisi unajua some of the nchi zingine ambazo zimeendelea unaona hata leaders wako accountable to anything they say. Unaona? Sasa mtu kama Murkomen, I think sasa angekuwa ameresign hata yeye mwenyewe bila kuwa impeached. Na serious country. Unaona? But juu sisi huku Kenya we tolerate a lot of nonsense, ndio maana unaona yuko hapo. Unaona? I remember ile time ya corona. The Prime Minister wa UK ali resign just because ali break sheria za corona. Unaona? Na ali resign. But sisi hapa Kenya sasa hiyo ukijaribu kusema Murkomen resign, utaambiwa oh you are against the Kalenjins, or you are a Kikuyu, na sometimes hata wewe si Mkikuyu, you don't even care. But sisi we are not accountable to ni nini tunafanyanga. Mtu ataiba, na ukijaribu kuuliziwa sema hapana, mimi ninashikwa juu natoka kabila fulani, na sisi juu ni wa kabila yetu tuseme ni mtu wetu ana nini, so we just don't care. Unaona? Zile institutions zenyewe zimewekwa zifanyie hiyo kazi ya kina EACC, wao ndio wanastahili kushika mtu amefanya corruption, but wakimshika pia wanadai kuongwa. Unaona? Wafungie kesi. So na corruption itaisha aje? Kama wale ambao wanafight corruption pia wanadai corruption, ndio wafungie hiyo kesi yako isitoke kwa media ama isifanye nini. Unaona? Hata media wenyewe wanafanyanga the same thing. I've just seen especially hata Citizen. Kuna mahali tu niliona there was a certain story tu walikuwa na style ku air, but they had to cut some of the stories juu walihongwa. So, ni something sani iko so bad, yani sometimes sijui kama tutakuja kukomboa hii Kenya. Ndio hayo tu kwa sasa.
Thank you. Forrester, let's have New Kenya as we end this space for today. New Kenya. Ruto is leading a charge for 1.2 billion And that's his own money for selling chicken.
Good evening, Leon.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm good. And everybody, good evening. You know, the story of Ruto is, I think, mimi nasema saa zingine kwamba we have talked about Ruto. Mpaka naona sasa Ruto pia ametuzoea to an extent whereby wajua haimsumbui, even people talk about his name, he's just proud of that one. I think he's bringing other things to divert our attention, because building a church in a state house at the same time, Esther Passaris is taking a bill where a state house should not be a no-go zone. So who are you building a church for? Is it a church for wash, or is it a church for cult, or is it for what? And today we are electing a Christian to be a president. Tomorrow we may elect a Muslim to be a Christian. We may elect an Hindu, which they go for temple. So I just I don't know, because I think there is a problem. I think some of our leaders are suffering from mental disorder, and it is high time that we may just take time, look at them, and we see that they are sick. Because as we talk today, you take 1.something billion building a church for your own money. Yet there are schools, which, because I know that is not his own money. If audit can be done, that is not his own money. There are schools from his own backyard where people are still learning under a tree in a system that they are praising, that is a CBC, is a U-turn to our country. What are you telling us? In a country where people are struggling, the education system is not working, then you are building a church. So I'm like that. The problem we are having is more deep-rooted, that we can just look on how we can do it. Just as the previous speaker said, we can change the structure of the leadership, which we can. But how are we going to do it? There is a previous speaker who talked about the kind of leaders we have, the tribal line. The problem that we have been making in this system, this regime, is one. If I can remember well a bit, it is the leadership. If somebody can remember, after the post-election violence, there came the Grand Coalition government, where ODM were the majority in parliament. The speaker was Kenneth Otiato Marende. That guy had a wisdom in leadership. If they were of leaders of today, they would have impeached Kibaki then, because ODM was the majority. But Marende managed that parliament. I think it is called the 8th parliament, something like that one. He managed that parliament up to the end. The problem we have in our country today, as much we blame William Samoei Ruto, the problem starts during our election time. And this thing comes with the political party. This idea of political party, going with political party, because I've come to realize that the political party does not give us the competent people. They give us their loyalties. You know, if you give me a loyalty person, it is not competent to me, whereby he will not articulate my issues. He will always articulate the issues of the boss. And the boss is the owner of political party. Remember, these people remit money to political party the way I remit money to how they carry, I remit money to carry. That is how they do it. So the problem we have in this country as we talk now, it is the members of parliament. We talk about all the independent institutions, but the most independent institution which has direct power from the people is member of the parliament. In fact, if there is a superior house than any other house, it's parliament. Parliament has the power to question the president. Parliament has the power to impeach the president. Parliament has the power to approve. Parliament has so many power. But what are they doing? That is where the problem is. And if the like of Oscar Sudi may try to do what, we can restructure these things from the grassroots. What kind of leaders are we going to elect? Let us don't elect leaders based on the political party. Political party is what has bring us where we are. Who assume today you are supporting ODM? What is ODM doing for you today as a member of ODM? What if you are supporting UDA? What is UDA doing for you today? Those are the questions that we need to ask ourselves. I was supporting this party. What is this party doing to me today? What is the philosophy of this party? Because what has disturbed me most in this country that every 5 years, every 5 years as we approach election, we don't go to election with the same political party. There is no any president of this country that's ever been going to election with the same political party that he was elected on. Why is it that they keep on changing political party, changing? Because they don't believe in the philosophy of what they're telling us. Because once they go there, they do their things. Later on, they come with another philosophy. The manifesto will never change. It is just the same thing. So it is just my appeal to my fellow Kenyans as we continue fighting for this thing. Because the person we are fighting, it is like, in our place, there is what is called hippopotamus. The skin of hippopotamus is so thick to an extent, even if you cane it with what, the hippopotamus will never feel anything. The skin of Ruto, as we talk, the skin is so thick that anything we will tell him will never touch him. Today he's telling you that he is a man of God. Who a man of God that can oversee the death of people, and then you are just proud about it? Which a man of people you talk about? People are creating anarchy and what? Where is this God, honestly? Or this God is just selective, that the people who know God more than other people. So this mockery of being people hiding behind God, or we are men of God, or we are children of God, we fear God, and what you are doing does not reflect what you say is another thing. So my prayer as I land, let us just rethink on the kind of leadership we have, and let us start it from the grassroots. If we may get the right from the members of parliament, the legislators, let us leave alone the judiciary, let us leave alone the EACC, leave alone the DCI. If we will get the right, if we may make the right choice from the members of parliament, that is where the power belongs. I think that is when we can make something. And this one will only happen when we do away with political parties. Because as per now, we need to realize that how political parties working in the US, because they used to give us comparison in the US. Oh, in US, Malaysia, what? There are those things that those people did right, that we have never done right, that we should not compare ourselves with them. Because you need to remain with the philosophy of something, the philosophy of that something need to remain. But you cannot keep on changing like a chameleon. Today you are in yellow, tomorrow you are in blue, and you are just the same person. So they don't believe in it. So my prayer is that as because election is coming, let us do away with political party. Let us try to internalize individual that today this Maraga that want to be a president of our country, where has he, from his upbringing up to date, what does he believe in? Since he became a grown-up, what has he been championing for? Because here we come and we elect somebody who does not believe in anything. History teach us a lot. Every person, if you look for the history of William Samoei Ruto, this guy don't believe in anything positive. History speaks for itself. And we cannot do away with history. History is a repetition of the character difference. But Ruto is just Ruto of yesterday, today, and I don't think if he will be changed. So let us start to analyze these people individually. This guy want to be an MP of an area, an MP. What from his childhood, from his upbringing, what does he believe in? Does he believe in leadership, or is just somebody who need to be carried? That is the only thing that I can pray. As we go forward, kindly please, let us analyze these people. If we do that one, in the next 2027, we may improve a bit. Coming 2032, we will reach somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikenya. Mustafa, can you say something as we end up the space? Mustafa, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Nashukuru sana haswa wasikilizaji wote, to all listeners, speakers, who spoke before me, and the host. Nashukuru sana. Kwanza, by the way, we have spent a good deal of time talking about this issue ya church for 1.2 billion, and This is the kind of tricks they want to play on you in order, yani, usikuwe tumekuwa organized. To get organized for Sabasaba. Hii mambo ya kanisa sisi ndo tutaamua, sio yeye, kwa sababu pesa inaweza kuwa yake, lakini ardhi ni yetu. Ndio maana imeitwa State House. Ajenge huko kwake Karen ama Sugoi. So sahii tungekuwa tunaongea kuhusu mambo ya kupanga Sabasaba, hiyo maandamano venye tunafaa tufanye. Huyu jamaa kwanza ameenda, ametoka hii imeenda sasa, lakini mimi kama Muislamu, mtu akikimbilia kwa msikiti ama kwa kanisa, unajua tunaambiwa hatukubaliwi. Hiyo ni mahali pa ibada, ni nyumba ya Mungu. Mtu mara moja akikimbilia huko, anafaa umwachie Mungu. Lakini yeye akikimbilia kweli, tutamwacha kenye tunajua kiambaa kenye ilifanyika. So we should stop talking about Sabasaba. Hii ni conflicting the narrative. Ya pili, huyu jamaa hata akifanya nini, kuna shida nyingine moja we don't normally discuss about. The other time we were talking about IEBC, sijui reconstituted. So even if the top leadership is reconstituted, those who are in the ground root, those who started working with IEBC since its inception, are still there in each and every ward, every sub-county, every county. So kama how, if they're still there, how do you expect change? So we should talk about funding the drain. Hii mambo ya church na sijui nini, we should treat this kind of nonsense with the content it deserves. We should not waste our precious time talking about this bullshit. So wacha tuanze Sabasaba tutaenda aje? Hii mambo ya kanisa. Hii mambo ya kanisa ni the narrative.
Nini, your network is not good.
Are you not listening to me all that time?
I'm listening, but can you check your network?
Network iko sawa. Am I still on mic?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So mimi nilikuwa nasema hii mambo ya kuhusu church, this 1.2 billion church that is being planned to be built in State House. Na venye amesema pesa ni yake, yeye ndo ameona tu ajenge kanisa. Hata kama pesa ni yake, State House kwanza sio yake. Now, by the way, this will not be the thing we should be talking about now, since we have wasted quite some time talking about this issue. Na Monday ndio hii hapa, yuko mbali Sabasaba. So, huyu jamaa kwanza ameanza ni kitu ambayo yeye mwenyewe ameshakubali. But now, ile kitu tunafaa tuulizane, IEBC ikiconstitutiwa the top leadership, yani the chairman and hao wengine kadhalika, hao commissions. Kuna wale walikuwa wanafanya IEBC wakati ya Uhuru na mpaka sasa wako in the grassroots. Hao pia si watabadilishwa. So these are the kind of issues we should be talking about. Wachaneni na hii mambo ya kanisa na hii 2 billion sijui nini. Sabasaba ni nini tunafaa tufanye? Tukuje kikundi kutoka yani sehemu gani? Tukuje all roads should be leading to the State House. Hii mambo zingine tuweke kando. Sijui kama mlikuwa mnanisikia. Nimeshukuru sana.
Thank you, Mustafa. Thank you for all the speakers who were here before and the listeners that is high. Do you want to say something about kanisa ya Ruto? Na kama upendi, wewe ni shetani. Shetani apende asipende, kanisa nayo atajenga, na si pesa zenu, ni pesa zake. Yeah. So see you maybe on Tuesday. We will be having a space hosted by Justice for All, co-hosted by me and